broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere west of the Atlantic Ocean. My name is BrianEngelman. Today is Friday, November 14, 2025, and this right here, the program that you have found today is called the TNAM Daily Show. TNAM, TNAM. That stands for the New American Media, because the old American media has failed you. On today's show, we're going to discuss the hemp ban. What the heck is a hemp ban? Well, remember when they said there's a clean resolution? Why don't you pass the clean CR? Well, is that what it means? Are we referencing the right thing here? How did we end up getting a ban on hemp that wasn't part of a standalone? Was this part of the government shutdown reversal? Not entirely certain. Kind of certain, kind of not. So let's dig around and figure out information on that one. Nimbus, over here. Come here. Nimbus, up here. Why do you have to go this way? I have a cat you're going to meet in a moment here. He insists on doing things the complicated way. He really is my family. He really is my kin, isn't he? Hi, bud. Nimbus loves to join. Oh, hi. Nimbus loves to join when I start talking. Hi, bud. Okay. So here's ghostly Nimbus on the green screen, purring. If you're a regular here at this bar, you know who Nimbus is. Hello, Marion. Hello, David. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, everybody. Let's make sure that these are all pulled up. Today's show is going to cover that story about hemp. We're going to talk about, really a lot of things. Oh, do you see Nimbus reaching for me? He reaches and puts his hand on me. He's like, hey, Dad, can I get some attention? Look at that. That's pretty cool. Whoop. But he does get a little bitey. He's a little nibbly like the Tootsie Roll owl. 1, 2, 3, crunch. Yes, but we're going to talk about the hemp ban hurting America. We're going to talk about who was the person responsible for what happened to President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. Lots of new information coming about that. More SNAP fraud being exposed. I'll tell you what, this shutdown, we're pretty fortunate that we've been able to put SNAP under a microscope because, my God, SNAP should be rice and beans and water and some basics and some protein and some vegetables. No chemicals, no bullshit. It's not supposed to be dessert cakes and mozzarella sticks. You don't get appetizers and dessert if you're somebody else's guest. That's not how this works. And that's what's been happening. And we're finding people that have doubled down and they're getting multiple fake SNAP accounts at their house. They're trading SNAP benefits for cash. Just a total abuse of the system, Nimbus. That's not cool. Nimbus does the nose kisses. That's very nice. And he will occasionally give a nose nibble, so you got to be careful with him. Nah, bud. Anyway, the SNAP abuse. It's okay to be charitable a little bit to some degree, but there is an expectation that you're supposed to find a way to get past that. Find a way to level up and not just make it your permanent lifestyle. That feels abusive. That feels like a taking advantage of some goodwill, huh, Nimbus? Like taking advantage. That's not right. So we're going to dig into SNAP abuse. We have stories on that. Also, we're going to talk about the Clinton Foundation corruption. Yes, that information is finally coming out. All these stories and more on today's show. So like I said, hit like, hit subscribe, share it on X, text it to a friend, say, hey, all of us trash pandas, the TNAM trash pandas, we're going to rifle through the rubbish and separate fake news from fact here on the TNAM Daily Show, a division of the Agree to Disagree show, here on the New American Media. Let's get started, Nimbus. What do you say? Yes.
Your guide to the truth, the new AmericanMedia.com.
All right. Yeah, if you were sitting next to me, you would hear Nimbus. I mean, he's purring like I don't know what purrs. Like a classic car engine. Ain't it, Nimbus? So apparently I've lost a dispute, by the way. I have 2 of my recent shows are ineligible for monetization on our YouTube channel because I played a clip and I want to tell you about it. Here's the transcript of Good Morning Britain featuring World War II veteran Alec Penstone. Let me pull this up on the screen because I might have to clip this segment out of the show so that monetization can continue because look, I do the show so that I can earn the revenue to pay the bills. If I can't make monetization, if I can't earn bill money, I got to do something else with my time. So Good Morning Britain, Great Britain. Let me click on this and share the link. Good Morning Britain segment. So there's a segment. Here's what's probably going to have to happen, because if I further dispute this, I could get a hard strike on my account. I know. Trying to partner with YouTube has been a silly task for me. It's been pointless. It's been one of the biggest mistakes I've made, not to really delve more quickly into the podcast world and instead just kind of spend a lot of energy on meta projects and products and Google YouTube. But I digress. Here's what's going on. I'm probably going to have to clip this out of 2 shows, and then I'm going to make a standalone segment, a standalone short about it. But I want to tell you everything you need to know since, it's so telling. This segment is about loss of freedom, and this is a stupid loss of freedom. I have allowable fair use authorizations as a media company, really as anybody, a user on the internet. If I provide unique, original, transformative commentary based on the timeliness of, based on anything I deem to be newsworthy, really. I don't need to justify that it's timely or that it's newsworthy. Thanks, Nimbus. Thanks for stepping on the computer, too. And that's the trick. We don't want to fall into this thing where you have to justify your use of force. By the way, I'm going to share you a story of probably today, 2 stories of self-defense where these people have to face charges for defending themselves. It's ridiculous. There need to be fast-track places where you don't have to put a victim through hell twice. You shouldn't have to put a victim through hell twice. We saw it with Kyle Rittenhouse. We saw it with Daniel Penny. We've seen it across the country. And there's I believe it's a veteran that had his home invaded by a gang and he shot back to defend himself, and now he's facing charges. No, there needs to be a fast track to throw these out. Just like I don't need to defend myself for my First Amendment rights, for my ability to speak. Fair use allows us to play clips and segments so that we can provide context to show you what we're talking about, and so that we can provide a documentary of the incident should this video clip be memory hold in the future because it was so damning, because it was exculpatory, because it was offensive. Yeah, well, no shit. Things get offensive. Deal with it. You don't have a right to not be offended on planet Earth. But this clip is about loss of freedom, and they struck me with the copyright once. Then I appealed. I go, no, I have fair use authorization to play this clip and then provide my unique original transformative commentary based on it. They denied it twice. 2 videos. It was so important I played it twice. So let me do the best that I can now and read you the transcript. There's a segment that aired on Good Morning Britain, ITV, on November 7, 2025, hosted by Adil Ray and Kate Garraway. It featured a 100-year-old World War II veteran, Alec Penstone, a Royal Navy veteran who served during the D-Day landings across HMS Campania. The discussion occurred ahead of Remembrance Sunday, with Penstone joined by the vocal group the D-Day Darlings, who performed a surprise song for him. The conversation turned emotional when Penstone reflected on the sacrifices of his comrades. You don't need to use the word comrades. Of his brothers and the current state of the UK. Below is a reconstructed transcript based on direct quotes and descriptions from the broadcast, as reported across multiple sources. Note, exact full transcripts of live TV segments are not publicly archived, but this compiles verbatim dialogue from eyewitness accounts, video clips, and contemporaneous reporting. I felt like this was so damning. We have to spend a moment on this. Marion says, supposedly they are revamping Snap and making people reapply. Hopefully. Yeah, that's a start. That'd be a good place to start, though, really. I mean, how many other things do you need to do full resets on? Do you got to do full resets from time to time? All right. There's a studio setup with Alec Penstone seated alongside D-Day Darlings. Host Adil Ray and Kate Garraway are at the desk. Ticker at the bottom of the screen mentions ongoing news, including a police search for an escaped offender. The group has just finished a performance of a wartime song. Kate Garraway smiling warmly. Alec, that was beautiful. Thank you so much to the D-Day Darlings. Alec, it's Remembrance Sunday coming up this weekend. What does it mean to you? Alec Penstone pausing, voice trembling with emotion, eyes welling up. You know, and this does call into question for me. What's going on in this segment? Surely the producers had an idea of, well, what do you want to talk about? What if we asked you this, what would you say? Like they warm you up to the show segments. It's a show producer. Show production is tricky. I actually reached out for a phone a friend on some production advice yesterday, as a matter of fact, because we finished Strictly Football, and we're kind of revamping the segments. That's with myself, Mike Barra, Jim Mitchell, Ezrael Robinson. Please check it out. It's on our YouTube and our Rumble accounts. And you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish today's show, and I think I'm going to play Strictly Football after this. So stay tuned. Also, let me put this at the bottom of the screen. These are the donation links. It's Friday. If you're having a fun time in this bar with me as your bartender, please consider tossing something into our tip jar. We're on Rumble and YouTube, the Rumble rants and super chats. That's a quick way to toss a comment up, and we get a little bit of love there. Sign up as a monthly subscriber on Patreon or YouTube or Rumble. That's appreciated because then we know how many subscribers we have and how much revenue to count on each month. Because sometimes we know how much our software and electricity fees and equipment fees and subscription fees are going to be. Sometimes we're hit with surprise fees. So it all helps. But additionally, our tip jar is at Venmo and Cash App. That's my name, BrianEngelman, ENGELMAN. And then PayPal at Fuzz Installment. Fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com is the email address. So about producing a show, yeah, we split our normal weekly show into 2 segments. I kind of loved it. I think the group did too. Even though each segment was a little longer, it felt so much better with the previewing the upcoming week in the NFL versus looking back at the week that was. I'm really enjoying the change, really enjoying it. So hopefully you like the show as well. But I'm just wondering how the producer lets Alec say what he says. Or maybe he just said, oh, okay, yeah, I'll tell him what it means to me. And like he had a plan going in. Or someone coached him, like, don't say this, otherwise they're not going to let you on the air. I don't know how it played out. I'm curious to see. I'd be curious to know. I don't know that I could see. But you get my point. 100-year-old is asked, what does Remembrance Sunday coming up mean to you? Voice trembling with emotion, eyes welling up. My message is I can see in my mind's eye those rows and rows of white stones, marking headstones, I believe, and all the hundreds of my friends who gave their lives. For what? The country of today? No. Shakes head slowly. I'm sorry, but the sacrifice wasn't worth the result of what it is now. Holy shit. Your 100-year-old British D-Day survivor says the sacrifice wasn't worth what this country is. Look at what you've done. Well, let me stick to his quotes. Brief studio silence. Hosts exchange glances, appearing visibly moved and surprised, probably terrified, probably somebody in the air telling him something, some producer. Adil Ray gently leaning forward. What do you mean by that, though? Alec Penstone firmly, with a hint of sorrow. What we fought for was our freedom. But now it's a darn sight worse than when I fought for it. They've lost their freedoms. Kate Garraway nodding, voice soft and empathetic. Alec, I'm sorry you feel like that. And I want you to know that all the generations that have come since, including me and my children, are so grateful for your bravery and all the other service personnel. We really are. Your service meant everything. Alex says thank you. Segment transitions to the discussion of a related poll on Britain's cultural changes, with guest Michael Gove commenting on public perceptions of division and immigration or invasion. The D-Day darlings perform another short piece as the camera pulls back. This exchange lasted approximately 1 to 2 minutes. And by the way, I guess I'm delivering. You know what I'm doing here, see? I'm delivering to you an old school, old-timey radio report. What you got here, see, is I'm not allowed to show you. At least I don't have the capability. Show you a little bit of what's going on, so I have to describe it in ample detail, perfect detail. Get a load of what you're hearing, see? I got to take what I saw. I don't know what accent I'm doing. It's a little bit of Obama. A little bit of 1920s gangster, see? You dirty rat. A little bit of W.C. Fields. I don't know what accent I'm doing right now, so I'll stop doing it. But I have to describe to you what happened because Google, YouTube have restricted my fair use freedoms in playing you a little clip to then let it hit home. Oh my God, this 100-year-old says it wasn't worth it. They've lost the freedoms in their country. Why bother? If they knew it was going to turn to this, what it is now in Europe, wasn't worth it. Why bother? Not worth the sacrifice. That's important. That's relevant. That's historical. And twice Google, YouTube has said, you're not allowed to talk about it. No, they specifically said, you can't cite primary sources here. We're going to hide it in case we need to block it in the future. We're going to hide it so the emotion in the eyes of this 100-year-old veteran can't move people to join his side, who are openly asking, who in the hell gave up Great Britain to the invaders? Who in the hell has taken their right to self-defense and their right to bear arms? Who's taken their right to say as they feel in the public square, either in person or online? They're getting locked up for the words. People committing crimes are getting out with smaller sentences than the people of Europe who are complaining that our country has been invaded and our women are being brutalized by the invaders. Maybe that's a little too powerful for Google, YouTube to allow you to see. And this is the exact type of shit that made me peel back from making content for a little bit of time. My stuff was getting censored erroneously, fraudulently, illegally. Here in America, I have fair use authorization to play clips for insight, to provide you correct, 100% accurate documentation of the thing, and then we can form our opinions based on the thing. Now, instead, all you get is Grok's interpretation of what the transcript of the events were. Seems fairly accurate as per my recollection. I don't have it committed completely to memory. Grok didn't say that the woman looked very nervous and uncomfortable and tried to change the subject, sort of, and that her tone was really off. Losing freedom is something that we need to document so the future generations can realize that at one point we used to fucking have some. So this story is important to me. This one means something to me. The exchange lasted approximately 1 to 2 minutes and quickly went viral on social media, sparking debates about veterans' perspectives on modern Britain. Penstone did not elaborate further on specific issues, such as freedom of speech, immigration, or cultural shifts, but his comments echoed a recent Ipsos poll cited in the segment where half of Britons said the country's culture is changing too fast. Well, number one, that it's changing at all, and that it's changing too fast. For the full video clip, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. That stuff all seems relevant to me. And I wanted to make sure you heard it. You know, I think Tucker Carlson, not to put words in his mouth, but I've heard him say damn near this exact phrase, or almost exactly. You know, if someone's going to try to tell me what I'm allowed to talk about and what I can't talk about, well, I'm going to talk about that more. There's something about something that makes it extra important when someone's trying to silence me on it. Whether it's Charlie Kirk, the influence of any foreign country, especially Israel. If people are out there telling you you're not allowed to talk about these subjects, they're verboten. Well, guess what? We must question with boldness even the existence of God. For if he exists, he would surely prefer reason than that of blindfolded fear. Question with boldness. That was a Glenn Beck cornerstone, a Glenn Beck guiding light, North Star, compass, true north. Question with boldness, even the existence of God. You tell me we can have conversations about something so important as even the existence of God, but we're not allowed to talk about losing freedoms in Great Britain 100 years or, I don't know, 75 years after World War II? You're damn right we're allowed to talk about that. Every show that we do being broadcast to wherever it may go is providing a record of where the way things used to be. Get a load of me, see? You're going to get tired of this mug. Get a look at it. I'm going to be your worst nightmare, pal. Everything is a time capsule. In the important stuff, especially the stuff they say when you, John B. Wells would say, you know, Brian, they say when you're taking a lot of flack, that means you must be over the target. So yeah, if you're being told stop talking about that, whether it's England losing its freedoms They lost their ability to defend themselves with guns. Change your damn laws and get your country back. You have no country if you're a servant. You have no country if you can be abused by a tyrannical force or an invading army. Arm up. Change your damn governmental parameters. You're not a free citizen unless you can bear arms. Change your laws. Do it today. Look at that guy and say, what the heck happened? What happened? It wasn't worth it. We lost all of our freedoms. We lost our freedoms, our liberties, our rights. As George Carlin would say, they're not rights, they're temporary privileges. If it's something that can be taken away, it's not a right. And he is right. It's a list of temporary privileges, they say. Anyway. You get where I'm coming from? Am I making too much out of this? But like, you gotta understand, I've been broadcasting for 15 years on the New American Media. Every day I turn over the trash can and I just see just awful stuff, interesting stuff, inspiring stuff, concerning stuff, thought-provoking stuff, just a grab bag. Life is like a box of chocolates. Never know what you're going to get. I was running. God, I haven't watched Forrest Gump forever. I got to get that accent back in my head. Actually, maybe I don't. But anyway, that's super important to me. Thank you for humoring me. I think it's relevant. England is getting arrested in crazy numbers. The citizens of their country are being brutalized by globalists, open border advocates, crime apologists. They've lost their country. And it's going to happen everywhere if we don't stand up to it and change the parameters. They're not going to be doing that if you're an armed society, because you have freedoms and liberties to speak. No one has a right to avoid being offended. Jordan Peterson has been over this. Over it. So let's move on to Tucker. Tucker's been taking a lot of flack lately. Let's take a listen why. Here's an interesting clap back to Ben Shapiro. He says, I hate to. Cut out the beginning here. Here we go.
To be mean to poor Ben Shapiro, who's clearly going away as a media force. But this does reflect the worldview of an awful lot of people in Washington and a lot of people in Ben Shapiro's world.
And this is directly responding to Ben Shapiro. Tucker does a good job explaining the gist of what it is.
That worldview is the people of this country don't really matter. They can be replaced. And by the way, if you complain about the fact they're being replaced, which they are at high speed, it's measurable, then you're a Nazi and you must shut up and be punished. But those people don't really matter. They should do what they're told. And ultimately, they should just serve the people who are profiting from all of this. Does he really think that? Here's Ben Shapiro.
If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up. But the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that.
They're not entitled to live where they want. They'll live where BlackRock tells them they can live.
It's like, whoa. I hate to be mean to.
Yeah, you can live where BlackRock tells you can live. You don't have a right to live in your homeland. The place you're born. Yeah, Ben is a pretty big elitist. America's second. America could never be first in Ben's book. Yeah, you have no right to live in your country. There should be a path forward where people can be owners in communities, residents, citizens are being displaced. This is a plan. This is a great replacement. Remember, you were told to not talk about that? Oh, people aren't being replaced. Oh, really? What are the H-1B visas about? Well, funny fact about that, the H-1B visas on one hand are about replacing American workers. On the other hand, it's about the fact that Americans aren't trained to do useful things. They've gone through college and come out with gender studies degrees. Just, hey, we're going to spend 4 years making you angry at the world. Now go. It's like, well, what job do you do? I don't know. Just go be angry. But I got to pay you back somehow. Yep. And you can never declare bankruptcy. What did you train me to do? We trained you to be our foot soldiers. Now go out there and be angry. And you're like, that doesn't work very well. So there can be competing thoughts. Yes, I think if we're going to attract a bunch of tech to America, we're going to need people to do those jobs. But unfortunately, the education system has done such a poor job of training Americans, and Americans aren't having babies. So the replacement rate, it's happening. They're being imported. Your country is being changed. And there can be temporary aspects to this. There's permanent repercussions to this. So just like when Trump said Epstein thing is a hoax, well, no, it's not. But if what you're watching over the past few days, the Democrats feverishly trying to pin the tail on Trump with another Epstein lie, that stuff is a hoax. So I think Trump can be a little bit more inarticulate than he's given credit for. People look at Daddy Trump, God King Trump, Emperor Trump, Savior Trump. Trump's just a dude. And he's an over-talker. He's an over-bragger. He's a salesman. He's a shit talker. Construction worker vocabulary. Some of the things don't come out right. It's okay to admit that a few things that President Trump has gotten into, maybe a little less than ideal. Remember, the whole first term was just kind of like, why would you say that? It's not presidential. It doesn't make you look good. It doesn't play well. But he'd do it anyway. Now about the Epstein thing being a hoax and trying to quickly change the subject. Well, what if the stuff that's going to come out, come out? Number one, it doesn't make any sense that Biden, Obama, because that whole stolen Biden term that many consider to be a stolen term, run by the same people in the Obama administration. If they had damning evidence that Trump was, etc., you think they would have wasted the time doing all these fake things, the E. Jean Carroll accusations where he wasn't allowed to defend himself in court? Oh, we're going to fine you for paying off a mortgage. Huh? Yeah, you overstated the value of your loan. It's not how it works. The loan company states the value of it. They do their own assessment. Are you kidding me? There was no there. Oh, we're going to charge you with holding documents. You're the president. You have top secret clearance. You have all clearance. If they had real evidence on Trump, they would have buried him with it. So now the stuff coming out, well, what did you leave behind in the burn bags? Wink, wink. Sure hope they don't find it. Oh, look, we got it. What is it? Ha-ha, now show us. Is it possible that President Trump is playing five-dimensional chess? Is it possible? I actually don't know if that's in my stack. So let's keep going. Let me make sure that story's in my stack. Here is Patrick Bet David.
BBC would never do such a thing. You know, we're not
Rob,
that. We're
I just
not
thumbed
this.
it up
We're
in
not
the
that.
chat.
You have to see this, folks. It is so uncomfortable.
She's a blonde lady, British.
It's
They roll up around on the street.
uncomfortable. The level of
I thumbed up.
pompous.
This lady
Pompous lady.
right here. Boom.
Watch this, folks.
All right, what do we got?
I would like to say it has been
Oh, this is the head of BBC. Ousted.
the privilege of my career to serve as the CEO of BBC News and to work with our brilliant team of
What a brilliant team. But you're going to be leaving. Why-
journalists. I stepped down over the weekend because the buck stops with me.
Oh, the buck stops with you. All right. She's falling on the grenade.
But I'd like to make one thing very clear.
Please do.
BBC News is not institutionally biased.
Fun fact, I had multiple show development meetings with BBC, working on a show called All American Conspiracy. But then they decided to do more lean back television, not conspiracy, like, ooh, cutting edge, but, like game shows and reality stuff, they said.
Why is the world's most
But this was also what they told me after they found out, and they were very shocked that I wasn't supporting Hillary Clinton in the 2016 election. They were horrified that I wouldn't support Hillary Clinton. I went, how could anybody? So I got a sense maybe that wasn't the network for me at that moment, because I didn't play that game. I didn't pretend to be things I wasn't. Even the promise of a syndicated television show on BBC, and you walk in, and I mean, it's got Top Gear, it's got posters all over, huge office. Number one television shows. You're just looking around going, oh. Okay, I don't watch most of these, but I know these are big shows. No, I don't have it in me to pretend to be a Hillary Clinton supporter just to get a TV show to become rich and famous. I don't have it in me. I couldn't possibly pretend. Maybe in another universe. What story? Hey, in the comments, what story was I saying? I want to make sure it's in my stack. Because as soon as I said it, I'm like, what was I talking about? What was I? Because I'm juggling 10 different stories and 3 different conversations right now. If you can remember, put it in the comments. That's even if I described it properly. Anyway.
most trusted
Pause real
news
quick.
provider?
Most trusted BBC. No, you're not the most trusted.
By the way, she's not just the head of anything.
Kind of a big deal.
She is the CEO of BBC.
The BBC CEO falling on her sword, taking one for the team.
Yeah,
Did you understand what just happened?
Yeah.
She's the CEO of BBC.
Now, by the way, that's not exactly the same as Fox News sacrificing Tucker. Remember that whole thing where there's a big lawsuit and, voting machines. Well, we're going to settle. We're not even going to really defend ourselves. We're going to settle and owe all this money. By the way, I guess we're just going to have to fire Tucker as part of the settlement. They thought that would end Tucker. It did not. And I do wonder if Fox ever paid any of that money, if that was just an orchestrated PR thing. I have my suspicions about that. I don't have any evidence, but I have questions.
That resigns because they know $1 billion lawsuit
BBC in crisis as Trump threatens a $1 billion lawsuit.
is coming for manipulation. BBC
was manipulating footage. You're trying to remember. We could rewind it. Well, you could rewind it. I couldn't rewind it while I'm doing this. It's okay. If it's in the stack, it's in the stack. We were talking about Ben Shapiro. We were talking about Candace. We were talking about Tucker. We talk about 100 stories here. So anyway, BBC was lying just like Fox News did. Remember when Fox News had Chris Wallace come out and repeat the fine people hoax in the 2020 debates? Remember that before firing Tucker? Oh, Fox News lost their way a long time ago. I haven't watched them in years. So there's that. Anyway. Republican Party news. Want to hear some disgusting, sick leftists chanting at a TPUSA event in California? F your dead homie. F your dead homie. These are the people that hate you and want to destroy this country. You need to know they're out there. Foot soldiers being created in America daily. All right. Media Research Center reporting on an illegal alien shooting spree in Texas.
So a man who opened fire at a landscaping...
This is, who is this? Not following. Brittany Hughes, real Britt Hughes. All right, I'll follow. Why not?
supply company in Texas this week has been identified as an illegal alien from Honduras.
Federal immigration officials say 21-year-old Jose David Hernandez Gallo from Honduras crossed into the U.S. illegally 6 years ago.
Manis says the violence unfolded between co-workers Saturday outside Mission Landscape Supplies. 48-year-old Selvin Chacon, 38-year-old Sergio Chacon, and 24-year-old Karen Bautista, all also from Honduras, were shot dead before opening. Hipolito Martinez says he's overcome with sadness after watching it all unfold. He says the gunman, Jose David Hernandez Gallo, was planning to shoot more people, but they begged for him to spare their lives. ICE confirmed today the Honduran national entered the U.S. as a minor with his family, saying the senseless tragedy could have been prevented.
So here we have a mass shooting, yet another example of the gun violence that the left likes to harp on so much, and yet this story never made it out of the local headlines. Gosh, I wonder why. 3 people were dead, all of whom were also from Honduras, by the way, at the business that was employing all 4 of these people in the United States of America because our border security was about as strong as wet tissue paper. But hey, we just won't talk about these things when they don't fit the narrative. So a man...
Glad we got that report, though. I will admit in 2015 when President Trump was going on about the border and the wall, and I'll admit that I didn't really fully comprehend why it was a big deal. I mean, I knew it might have been a little bit. But I didn't know that it was this big a deal. Just like I didn't know SNAP was such a bad situation, rife with abuse. I didn't know that the Obamacare subsidies, I didn't really go too deep into it because I know it's a train wreck. Well, they're fighting over funding. People are going to starve. What's going on with SNAP? No, you don't get Entenmann's cakes. And they said, sir, they're eating Little Debbie's. They're eating the Kit Kats. They're eating hot dogs. There's actually a really good skit in there somewhere. Maybe this could be said as Bobby Kennedy, in Springfield, Ohio, there was a problem. They said the Haitians were eating the cats and eating the dogs. But with the SNAP program, the bigger problem is that people are eating Kit Kats and hot dogs. There's a joke in there. Yeah, I was thinking about jumping back on stage at the at the comedy club. Comedy's a tricky thing, man. I'm trying to figure it out. I love it. And I do enjoy my Bobby Kennedy impression, but I want to tighten it up and do some more rapid fire jokes and do it 3.5 minutes. I can't do it 4.5 minutes. When the light comes on, you're supposed to be done at 4 minutes. I got to gain control of my time. They're eating the cats and the dogs, more like Kit Kats and hot dogs. But I didn't realize that the healthcare subsidies for Obamacare were such a train wreck, and that was what was driving up the healthcare costs. When that's the way that you can show you're meeting your metrics, and that's the way you can show that you're growing, providing growth to investors. By the way, look at the healthcare stocks. Look at what was I hearing the other day? That one of the healthcare stocks was $25. Now it's $250. And that sort of mirrors a 10x, 20x boost since Obamacare, because it was written by all the insurance companies because they knew they could keep raising the prices, and the government, aka somebody else, would have to pay for it. Margaret Thatcher famously said, yeah, the problem with socialism is that eventually you run out of everybody else's money. So some of these situations, like the border, like SNAP, like Obamacare, when the energy is amplified, it kind of shakes away all the unnecessary, and you're eye to eye with the giant fish, mammal, whatever. That's Costanza, by the way. And so I am appreciative of that. I just didn't realize the border was this bad. Guess what? It's worse. Here's Speaker Mike Johnson on Newsmax here talking about which political party doesn't deserve support anymore. I've been saying this for so long. It was dereliction of duty what they did, and it shows how little they give a crap about you.
Said that this would be the outcome when all this began back in mid-September. They did it anyway. Democrats admitted that they used the people as leverage, and they got nothing for their selfish political stunt here. They didn't achieve anything with this at all. And anyone who studied history would know that shutdowns never yield any positive result. It just hurts people. I said on the House floor a little while ago that we did all this in good faith. From the very beginning, I was insistent about this. Our leadership team was. The Republicans did the right thing. We had a nonpartisan continuing resolution. We didn't have any Republican priorities on it at all. We just said, in good faith, let's keep the lights on. Let's keep this going for another 7 weeks so that the Congress can do its work, so they can get back to the regular appropriations process, the way that it is supposed to be done for the people. I'm really sad that it took us so long to get here. It was so much pain that had to be endured to get to this point. Voters are going to remember which political party played games with their lives. They're going to remember that they did this for their own selfish purposes so that they could look tough to the radical elements of their base, and real people suffered because of that game. I said that this would be the outcome.
We all saw that coming. The Democrats want to burn it all down and become king and queen of the ashes. Don't let them. Fire them all.
We begin today with
Megyn Kelly. Interesting take.
Jeffrey Epstein, convicted felon, pervert, abuser of women, and yes, at one point, a long time ago, friend of Donald Trump. Epstein also met with people like Katie Couric, George Stephanopoulos, the Dalai Lama, reportedly, many, many others who are not guilty of crimes just because they spent some time with the criminal Epstein. Epstein's back in the news this week, 6 years after he died in prison, awaiting trial on charges of sex trafficking minors. In the never-ending quest to finally know everything there is to know about Jeffrey Epstein and his dastardly deeds, the House Oversight Committee subpoenaed Epstein's estate for his emails and related documents, and lo and behold, they got them. Now, every media outlet known to man is reporting on every word Epstein penned related to Donald Trump in a mad search to tie the president to the disgraced financier's sexual crimes. So far, it hasn't worked, but this is a pathetic and blatant piece of proof that these people don't care at all about sex trafficking victims. The media cares about one thing and one thing only, getting Donald Trump. And this effort to turn the Epstein story into the Trump story completely undermines the actual search for truth when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, which is why many of us resent these Johnny-come-latelys from finally getting interested in the story. We begin today.
All right. So people are bringing up, what about Matt Gaetz and the 17-year-old story over there? Megyn Kelly had something interesting to say about 15-year-olds. There's more clips on the way. Here we go. Here's BBC formally apologizing to President Trump. Oh, I think maybe that was what I was talking about. The story is about how the BBC edited their video to make it sound like President Trump tried to get everybody to go to the Capitol and fight. See, he led a dangerous insurrection. No, he didn't. He said peacefully and patriotically, go make your voices heard. Well, BBC and others have lied about that. The Fine People hoax was a lie. So much selective editing. The Fine People hoax was a RuPaR. And that's what the BBC did. You take an event out of order to make it seem like they're saying something that they're not. Well, here's BBC formally apologizing about President Trump.
started with the Panorama edit. I've just got this in. This is just breaking news, Emma, which relates to this story. We're just hearing that the BBC has apologised to Donald Trump over the editing of a speech which appeared on Panorama in 2024, adding it was an error of judgment and the programme will not be broadcast again in this form on any BBC platforms. So that's the BBC apologising directly to the President of the United States over the editing of a speech that appeared.
That's the bare minimum that you owe him. And you know what? I'm tempted to say F you and F your apology also. But I did say it on yesterday's show. When you get something that you're supposed to get, you should never scorn them for doing it. That's the way you make sure you never get it again. But I'm tempted to say F you, and I did selectively. I did edit myself. I meant to say something. I wanted to drop the hard K, not a soft K, a hard K on that one. But no, in the effort of this is the right thing. Thanks for finally saying the right thing. To set the record straight, this shit matters. I'll say that. I won't say screw you and screw your apology because then they'd be like, fine, I just won't apologize next time. It's like, no, still apologize, but let me rant after it. And now the former CEO's gone, so maybe there's a new chief in town and maybe they're going to have a different opinion. Yeah, apologize for inciting hate worldwide. Error of judgment. How about intentional deception? This wasn't accidental or sloppy. This was a coordinated coup coordinated treasonous act, coordinated treasonous plot to stage a coup and destroy the political career and the political aspirations of Trump and MAGA forever. This was knowingly intentional, deceptive, fraudulent, damaging, harmful, and there must be a repercussion for what they did. Thank you for finally setting the record straight, though. Long overdue.
On Panorama in 2024. But Emma,
I was there filming it. It was so hard to hear, though. Where we were at, it was so hard to hear.
By the sounds of it, there might be another apology to make.
But I can definitely tell you. It wasn't like the crowd started running with pitchforks and torches. Let's go get them. That's not what President Trump was saying, and that's not how the crowd reacted when he was done speaking.
Yeah, so that was the one that's caused such a furore over the last week or so that resulted on Sunday night in the Director General of the BBC, the big boss, Tim Davie, resigning. Also, the Chief Executive of BBC News, Deborah Turness, both of those leaving their roles. Then the BBC chair apologising for what he called an error of judgment. So this really has been the focus of enormous attention. Now we're talking about this Newsnight programme, and what's really interesting about it, according to the Telegraph, who've broken this story, a live guest straight after that speech was played out on Newsnight pointed out that it had been cut incorrectly, changing the meaning, and according to the
it was cut incorrectly. to change the meaning. This was knowing and intentional.
Telegraph, nothing was done on air to say apologise or to address that.
Yeah, so and then people it had happened.
Yeah, and then the next morning in an editorial meeting, it said that it was discussed there, concerns were raised, nothing was done then. There has been a response from the BBC, a BBC spokesperson saying the BBC holds itself to the highest editorial standards. This matter has been brought to our attention and we are now looking into this. Really important, just quickly to say that the timing here is absolutely crucial because a lawyer for Donald Trump threatened to sue the BBC for a whopping $1 billion, saying they needed an apology. Well, we got that now, haven't we? And a retraction. It's not been played again with false, defamatory, disparaging and inflammatory statements. And the deadline was Friday, 10 p.m.
Yeah, well, that apology has come in. Emma, for the moment, thank you. Just to reiterate that breaking news, the BBC has apologised to Donald Trump over the editing of a speech which appeared on a Panorama programme back in 2024. The organisation saying it was an error of judgment.
Okay. Well, they're saying an error like it was a mistake, but an error of judgment is that somebody made a call and that was done in error. That was a bad call. Yeah, it's a bit of a weasel word, but all right.
The programme will not be broadcast again in this form on any BBC platforms.
And so that just, once again, that's why I wanted to play you that 100-year-old World War II veteran in his words. Don't let me take anything out of context. Don't allow a possibility for someone to accuse me of that. Put it all above board. Flip the cards straight up. Let's go. Unwoke thoughts. Am I following that account? Okay, looks like I am. All right, here's another Democrat Epstein fail. Who's this? Clayton Kearns? Don't know him, but let's hear.
Someone needs to check on the Democrats because what are they even doing?
What are they ever even doing?
They just had to delete a tweet that they posted earlier today because they claimed that this email proves that Trump spent Thanksgiving with Jeffrey Epstein in 2017 when he was already president. Yeah, big problem with that is that all it takes is a simple Google search to prove exactly every single thing that Trump did on that day, and you can easily tell that he didn't spend it with Jeffrey Epstein. And you know it's bad when they had to delete the tweet because this Twitter account, this official Democrats Twitter account, they just go full bore with all the lies. I mean, they do not have any problems leaving lies up. And you know it's bad when they had to delete it. This is just getting embarrassing at this point. Not only can articles like this prove exactly what he was doing, but of course, since he was president, they have literally his minutes. Every single thing he did on that day, where he was. And as we know, Trump had banned Jeffrey Epstein from Mar-a-Lago years and years and years prior, okay? Trump was in Mar-a-Lago, Trump was in Florida the entire time. Now, as always, when these fake stories are posted, the damage is already done, right? I mean, it got millions of views. You had big Twitter accounts reposting it, saying, oh, Trump was with Epstein on Thanksgiving in 2017. Now, the fact that they deleted it is going to get a lot of attention, and the truth is hopefully going to be spread. But they got what they wanted, right? They pushed a fake narrative. But again, when you are proven to be a liar, it hurts your credibility so much more. And when people find out that they are lied to, it makes them oppose you even more. So they keep shooting themselves in the foot. So go ahead, keep sending us more hoaxes. We'll keep debunking them and we'll keep gaining trust with the American people while you guys destroy yours. Someone needs to check on the Democrats because what?
Yeah, I mean, we've bailed on the Democrats so long ago. They're out to lunch and knowingly and intentionally lying to us. We're not going to feed at that trough anymore. It's poison. All right, let's take a look at allegedly. I'm not following this, but I share. I will toss follows to accounts I barely know. Someone actually recently said, "Hey, are you following this account?" I go, "Huh?" I'm like, "Yeah." I go. They said, "What's the?" I go, "I don't know." And I clicked it. I'm like, this doesn't look like an account I would follow. Is it an account that pretended to be something else and then changed? So I don't even know what that was about. I didn't even know the account they were referencing. Because accounts do that. You follow things, you're like, oh, I liked that home renovation video. I'll follow that. And then you notice a couple weeks later that account is showing you really big boobs or something super gross on the human body on a little clip, and you're like, ugh, what the hell's going on here? I didn't sign up for this shit. Unfollow. Facebook is notorious for that, but it happens on all accounts. Anyway, but yeah, I'm sort of generous with my follows. This is Conduit Church, showing what they say is an electoral map between men and women. I don't know if they reference where this map is from. I don't know if I can confirm its validity, but it sort of tracks. So take a look at this one.
To see what the electoral map would look like if only men voted, and then you're going to.
Okay, I got to mute it because there's too much music. All right, so why is this? Here's the map. On the left, this is only if women voted. There's a lot of blue, but you have red. What is that? Idaho. They lose Texas? Kind of along the Mississippi River. Men, but otherwise it's all women. But if just men voted, they'd have the whole country, except for New York, Illinois, California, Oregon, Washington, and what is that? New Mexico? Is that New Mex? Which one is? Anyway.
Every election, that gap seems to get wider and wider and wider.
Right.
So he says biblical ideology that a husband and wife, I'm my wife's protector, covering the family unit, and as the universities have begun to dismantle that family unit, we see how many females are just opting out of marriage altogether. And I wonder if this anecdotal and theoretical for me, but I wonder if it's because they now are married to the state. So the state becomes their protector and not their husbands. Then they would vote for that. And when you reverse it with the men, especially voting the other direction, was that under 30 right now, you don't even remember a time where you weren't being blamed for being the entire problem of society. Young, white, male, yeah. I'm at least old enough to remember before we were blamed for that. So you got men who've been completely marginalized, saying someone's finally speaking for me, voting for, and then women saying, I'll let the state be my God, be my husband. That's his theory. Let's leave a comment. No lies told button. Marion, there has been an effort. There has been an effort. People are talking about it. Women are talking about it. Taking voting rights away from women. People have talked about taking voting rights away from non-landowners. You see these abuses in SNAP and welfare programs, and you're like, well, if you don't own anything, why are you voting? Of course you're going to try to reach in my pocket and take my shit. Why don't you reach into your own bootstraps and pull yourself up? Come on, get your life together. Join us, and then once you're taking care of yourself, then you get a chance to vote. Otherwise, you're just trying to steal. That's why, oh, well, it's so greedy. Those rich people want to keep their money. Well, what is the proper amount that should be stolen from somebody who successfully was able to earn a few bucks? What's the appropriate amount of theft? Yeah, the people, we still can't even decide if illegal aliens should be voting in this country. Of course they shouldn't. Democrats are saying the opposite, though. But I by block, by demographic, by far, the worst voting demographic is white liberal women. That's so racist. Oh, is it now? I'm racist against whites? Tell me more. Tell me more. They've been the most susceptible to the media brainwashing and manipulation and lies. They've been most susceptible to the school education system, college, university indoctrination, media manipulation and lies. Manipulation and lies, rather. I mean, are we better off or worse off? Marion says, kind of like, when was the last time you washed your rental cars? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't have skin in, and that's what they say in poker. You can't really play poker against somebody who doesn't have anything in the pot. If you don't have skin in the game, you shouldn't be playing, because you play all effed up. You play weird. And if it's reaching into your pocket to take, you go, well, let me be careful. What are we trying to say? What do we want to pass that's going to take money from me and do what with it? Is this really the best use of it? They say democracy, simple democracy, is two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. We're supposed to have something different in our constitutional republic that doesn't create these types of problems exactly. But it is an interesting topic. And how were they able to mislead so many women? And is there any hope of getting them back? I don't know. Real America's Voice puts this out. This is Mike Sarrail, U.S. Navy SEAL, retired Joint Special Operations Command, talking with Eric Bolling here about how the United States has allegedly been at war with the cartels for 30 years, but no other president's done anything about it. Wonder why.
This idea of blowing up these narco terrorists in the water, in foreign seas, you for that, or you against that?
Good. Absolutely. What has it been? 1.5 million Americans have been killed by illicit drugs. We had enough fentanyl come across the border in 2024 to kill 15 times the population of the U.S. Guys, we've been at war with the cartels for 30 years, and no president has done a thing about it. This is a direct threat to the sovereignty and the livelihood of our American people. Take them out. You'll have nothing but support from me and most of my peers.
Yeah. My only concern is that if there happens to be, God forbid, there's a mistake, and you lose all the upside. You just lose the world. The whole world will look the other. It's a very, very risky when it's pursued correctly. It's great, but
Eric, that's war.
Yeah,
that's war. Well, these are a byproduct of war,
listen,
and I understand you. You try to prevent
I just
them
understand
at all costs.
you're talking to someone who lost a son to fentanyl poisoning. Yeah. I'm just concerned, not that we're not killing narco terrorists or killing them or not killing them. I'm concerned that if there is a mistake, if there, God forbid, there's a civilian on one of those boats, we've lost all the upside. And that's what I just don't want for this administration and their effective war on the drugs coming into the country. So this idea of blowing up these narco terrorists in the water, in foreign seas, you for that, or you against that?
Okay, reset.
Good. Absolutely.
I'm curious, what are they doing to retrieve? If these are thousands of pounds of drugs and it's just going into the water, why aren't we retrieving that to dispose of that? If it is fentanyl, isn't it poison? Don't you want to retrieve that? ID the bodies? Get any additional information that may be on board? I don't know. Curious about retrieval. Pam Bondi says, last night an individual attempted to confront one of our U.S. attorneys, my dear friend, U.S. Attorney Alina Habba, destroyed property in her office, and then fled the scene. Sounds like an insurrection. That's what I'm going to type. Sounds like an insurrection. Destroyed property in her office and then fled the scene. Thankfully, Alina is okay. Any violence or threats of violence against any federal officer will not be tolerated, period. This is unfortunately becoming a trend as radicals continue to attack law enforcement agents around the country. Greg Price says the Democrats deleted their post claiming that President Trump spent Thanksgiving with Epstein in 2017. Probably because it was an easily disprovable lie, and the attempts to connect President Trump to Epstein's crimes are a giant hoax. All right, here's a disturbing story. I interviewed The lead singer of Eagles of Death Metal, Jesse Hughes. This is on the heels of the Bataclan attack in France. They were doing a show. Shooting started. Feel free to tune out for a minute or two at this one, because I don't even know how to explain this to you, because you don't really know how do I even tell you this story. November 13th, 2015, 130 slaughtered, 683 maimed. Quote, in the name of Allah. But did you know that the media hid the worst? Here's what French forensic reports and sealed testimonies revealed. I don't even know if I can say any of this stuff on YouTube. I gotta change this a little bit. Very important male parts removed and put down throats of people while still alive. Torture. Eyes taken out, with fingers or gun barrels or something. What happened to pregnant women or pregnant people? Well, at least one of the little ones were removed. Taking this off. Defiling women after they were taken from this realm. Parts hanging from chandeliers and limbs twisted in death poses, not from bullets, from knives and hands. These were not quick. This was a chaotic slaughterhouse where bodies were stacked like firewood amid screams. They laughed while cutting, says one survivor. They're saying this is for Syria. One filmed it with a GoPro. ISIS wanted trophies. 68 autopsies in 72 hours. 0 knives recovered, but slash wounds on 41. DNA of 3 attackers found in wounds. France didn't want to tell you this. Frankly, I don't want to tell you this. This is according to Amy Meck and the 29.0 chasing account here. Allegedly to protect cohesion. They didn't want to stop importing jihadis, Islamic militants. And today, 10 years later, France still submits to their invaders. Borders still remain wide open. This was very troubling. Yeah, I spoke with Jesse Hughes about this. He was rushed off stage and he thankfully survived. Level up, people. Get ready. Prepare yourself. Tough story. All right. Well, Candace has a problem with Kash Patel's girlfriend. Who are you backing here, Kash or Candace?
Kash Patel, he has to step down. There's no other option here. He tweeted, I told you about that a couple of weeks ago, leave my girlfriend alone. And then we see you guys and she's my life partner. You left your wife. You've been with this girl for a year and a half. Calm down. Okay. Just calm down. Like a teenager in love. It's ridiculous. Well, now his girlfriend, turns out, is suing Elijah Schaffer and other content creators for $5 million. For $5 million. For her hurt feelings, okay? Because she was called a honeypot, an Israeli honeypot. And in some circumstances, I want to be very clear, They didn't even explicitly call her a honeypot. They just posted a picture. This is directly from a lawsuit. It says that on September 14th, 2025, an ex-user that goes by Hen Mazig published a lengthy and detailed post about the prominent role of female Mossad agents have played in Israel's sophisticated intelligence efforts against Iran, including by seducing top officials, and that some of them reportedly seduced high-ranking enemy officials. Now, in response to the comments on that same day, Elijah Schaefer posted a photo of Alexis Wilkins, that is her name, and Patel, right? So this is this is what they're suing over. And she might not be a Mossad honeypot, other than people saying she works for Marissa Straight, PragerU, who, she's formerly of the IDF intelligence unit. I worked for PragerU. I'm not a Mossad honeypot person, so that's not evidence. But there is evidence that she comes from a Freemason family in California. Like, dad was in the California Freemasons, and grandpa was pretty high up in the California Freemasons. And, Kash Patel's dropping 33 hours like it means something. That's actually more interesting than Mossad honeypot.
Kash Patel dropping 33 hours like it means something. What is she referencing there? I don't know what that is. I don't know what she's referencing, Kash referencing at 33 hours.
Thing. Mom works in aerospace. So she's not just like some cutesy country singer that has no connections. Like, let's make that clear. She doesn't have no connections. Letting you guys know that. And I am so sick of the idea that you're going to file and bankrupt people because you don't like what's on the internet. That's why this needs to be exposed. He should be flamed. The punishment for these sorts of things is these people should be shamed. They should be absolutely shamed. Out of public life forever. If your solution to somebody saying something on the internet is I'm going to bankrupt you, especially something, who cares? You're a country singer. Even if you were a Mossad honeypot, why do you care? This lawsuit is pathetic. You should be forced to step aside. But, it's probably not going to happen because a lot of things that are going on in this administration have been embarrassing. And yeah, we're hunting down kids on college campuses that offend Jewish people. So we're stuck with Kash Patel. Kash Patel.
Bro's first girlfriend. What do you think? Handler? Honeypot? Didn't they accuse Erica Kirk of the same thing? Did they both pull beautiful ladies way out of their league, which makes it a little too suspicious? Oh, Lake Leon is saying Charlie Kirk's killer arrested in 33 hours. Okay. I did hear that. Thank you. Good comment. Lake Leon saying, I don't think I'm going to trust any of the above. Okay, that's fair too. You don't need to pick a side. And this is an ongoing conversation I'm having. In some threads, and you discuss, you're going to support Bibi Netanyahu? Well, no. What are you going to support? The Hamas terrorists? Like, hold on a second. Why do I need to support the New York Yankees or the Boston Red Sox? They're not my team. Why do I need to pick a side? Yankees are known as the evil empire. Can I root against one team more, or do I need to not care about either? Do I need to dislike both teams, or actively try to root against both teams, or try to defeat both teams, or sabotage both teams, or trade with both? What are you supposed to do? I'm rooting for my team. That's over here. Those two things are two things over there. Don't make me pick like I have to. So that's fair. If you say neither, if you're going to trust Cash on this or trust Candace, you can say neither. But I'm just saying, what's more likely? This poor sweet thing is just on the up and up, and she doesn't deserve all this abuse, or they might be onto something. And come on, Cash, you've been compromised. I don't know. Fed Up Californian here posts this, says Governor Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff, Dana Williamson, facing 23 federal charges. Former chief of staff of Gavin Newsom met with heavy media attention, leaving the courthouse, being indicted on multiple charges, accused of funneling money away from Xavier Becerra's campaign, facing allegations of tax fraud, bank fraud, wire fraud. Reporters attempted to ask her questions.
Excuse us.
Any comments?
Should other California officials and people involved in the government be concerned now with this investigation underway?
Do you have any comment, Ms. Williamson?
Excuse us. No, you guys can contact my attorney. Excuse us.
Do you have anything to say at all?
Ms. Williamson, do you have anything to say to Javier Becerra right now? He called this a
Have you been cooperating with prosecutors?
Ms. Williamson, you have nothing to say with the 23 counts against you, alleging that
Side of the story you would like
you
to
and
share with
co-conspirators funneled money to Javier Becerra. Watch out for your steps.
Steps.
Should Governor Gavin Newsom be concerned, Ms. Williamson? Should Governor Gavin Newsom be concerned?
All right. Yeah, they're yelling, get out of the bikeway. That's so perfect. Get out of the bike lane. Or you could move around them. The world doesn't revolve around you, bikers. It's very dangerous riding on the roads. I don't care how much the Greenpeace movement wants to, well, not Greenpeace, but, you know, all the hippies want to tell you. Should be riding your bikes everywhere. Yeah, I don't know about that. Oh, I just remembered something on today's show. I don't know why I have to click to monetize the show, but now I just did. Don't understand it. If I'm making content, of course I want it to be monetized. Why does it ask me? I need to do it before I launch. After I set it up and before I launch. I keep forgetting. And it's important because now my Democrat Schumer shutdown ends almost. Trump pardons election integrity targets. November 10th stream ineligible for monetization because of copyright. Hot blonde Sydney Sweeney and Erica Kirk demonized by Democrats. Is it deserved? Unmonetized, demonetized by YouTube. So yeah, this is I'm trying to get the hang of this. It's really hard for me to figure out. Actually, now that I'm here, I think the advice I was given is I wouldn't risk a strike on that. Just trim the segment. It's like playing Russian roulette for a nickel. So yeah, I guess. On principle, though, I wanna. But you know what? I will take that out. I'll see the details. I'll take action. I'll trim out the segment and just click it now. What a damn shame. All right, so I took that one out. Anyway, I just remembered this as I was glancing at this. So I will take these out. Like I said, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Tip jars open. Venmo, Cash App, Rumble Rant, Super Chats. Marion says, my jury is always out on Candace, and I wish I saw more action from Cash, Bondi, and the like. Okay, that's fair.
Motherfucker, get out of the bike lane! Fucking selfish piece of shit! It's a bike lane, not a loading zone, you asshole!
That we
I love the anger out of the biker. It's such a perfect component to this California story.
What line? Yes, what line?
There's nothing else. Charges. Should other government officials in California, other people associated with the government? This is a big case, sir. A lot of people could be involved. Dana Williamson was a very powerful person in California's government. There's nothing you can share at this moment. Can you say when we might have an update or something from you?
It won't be from me.
Well, she just referred. Okay, so you won't be her.
There's somebody about me. Prosecutors say she has not been cooperating.
She just deferred us to you, so that's why we're all here.
She confirms that the only person that has faced charges of force so far.
You have no comment on the plea agreement that was potentially taken by McCluskey and Campbell, who are co-conspirators in this case.
So what's next? Excuse me.
All right.
What do you want to sound for?
Excuse us.
Any comment?
Feels like the house of cards is coming down on these Democrats, but I'm not entirely
It's now
sure.
being.
All right. Here's Jack Posobiec talking about President Trump designating Antifa a foreign terrorist organization, not just domestic.
Reported that President Trump administration, and specifically through the State Department, is designating Antifa a foreign terrorist organization. Julio Rosas has the story up at his Substack, mostlypeaceful.media. We also see the reporting coming out from the Post-Millennial now, but Julio broke this story. It says the U.S. State Department is now the latest agency to take action against violent Antifa chapters. They're designated 4 Antifa groups in Europe as foreign terrorist organizations. Now, if you remember, when I visited the White House for the Antifa Roundtable on left-wing violence several weeks ago, I specifically asked the president to do this. He asked if we should. I said, yes, Mr. President, we should, because Antifa was formed in Germany, in the Weimar Republic originally, and it's always been the home base of Antifa. And so now we see direct action taken from the Trump administration on this. Here are the 4 groups. Antifa Ost, based in Germany. The International Revolutionary Front, also known as the Informal Anarchist Federation, based in Italy. That's also where the song Bella Ciao, the Antifa international anthem, derives from, is from Italy. It's in Italian. Armed Proletarian Justice, based in Greece. Revolutionary Class Self-Defense, based in Greece. I'd also love to see, those are the first 4. I'd love to see some of the groups in Spain. I'd love to see some of the groups in the UK, in France as well, designated as foreign terrorist organizations. But this is a fantastic and historic start. Fantastic and historic start. Each of these groups, listen to this, are responsible for carrying out multiple attacks in Europe, according to the State Department. Antifa Ost was labeled a terrorist organization by Hungary in September 2025 after the group's militias assaulted 9 people with hammers, batons, and pepper spray in Budapest, Hungary, 2023. We reported on that at the time. We also know that militants affiliated with the International Revolutionary Front shot and wounded a nuclear engineering executive in 2012. And so, folks, what does this mean? A foreign terrorist organization designation gives the State Department incredible powers to go after these organizations, and this is the key part, and their affiliates. So what does that mean? Under Section 219 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, a foreign terrorist designation organization criminalizes material support. Anyone under U.S. jurisdiction who knowingly provides material support to this terrorist group is punishable for up to 20 years to prison or life.
There you go.
Freeze, you can have your assets frozen. You can restrict immigration and travel, the no-fly list and others. You can have sanctions. You can lose your bank account. You can go after everything involved with these people who are going on. So this is where the U.S. Secretary of State, the Attorney General, and the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, can now use all of their powers to go after the money, to go after the links, to go after anyone who's threatening the security of U.S. nationals or national security in conjunction with these groups. It's now being reported.
I just, that's great, but what took so long? Anyway, so, you know, you don't want to poo-poo progress. You don't want to overly criticize progress, but still, what took so long? Why wasn't this done during the first term? Anyway.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
To the Capitol. The quote here says, "This is worse. BBC is accused of a second doctored Trump speech scandal. Similar to the previous Panorama scandal, splice footage of President Trump's January 6th speech, which aired in an episode in 2022, made it falsely appear that President Trump, urged supporters to walk to the Capitol building and fight like hell by linking statements made nearly an hour apart in the speech." Tim Davie, Director General of the BBC, and Deborah Turness, Chief Executive of BBC, already resigned. President Trump already threatened a $1 billion lawsuit, and BBC issued apologies. But this is now a new, even more egregious scandal.
And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen.
Oh, shoot, there's music in the background. This is how they get you. This is how they... I'm trying to tell this story, and YouTube will be like, well, you know how you tried to work and pay your mortgage and pay the bills and feed your family this month? Well, that clip of a historical document happened to have a piano going, dun, 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 dun. See, you can't monetize it now. Ha ha. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying real hard to dodge these landmines. I'm trying.
Men and women, and we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't,
yeah, I can't play this. Damn it.
We're not going to have a country anymore.
Oh, and then there you go. I got to mute it. And then it cuts to this. If you don't fight, you're not going to have a country anymore. And it cuts directly to the riot footage.
More generous to Donald Trump because it does include the line, "We're going to cheer on our brave senators and Congress."
And by the way, covering this is shared by Balfour UK, George Balfour Kinnear. Covered under fair use. This is the segment. We're allowed to show it and talk about it. If there's unrelated music underneath it, I mean, what does that have to do with what I'm trying to discuss, which is not a piece of unrelated music. It's about this news story.
Men and women.
But then it cuts to the fight like hell part and says that if you don't fight like hell, then you're not going to have a country anymore. And the footage then cuts immediately to scenes of people fighting.
And it cuts seamlessly. So it does make it seem as if fight like hell came immediately after the initial statement, when in fact it came 54 minutes later. And then they also speak to Mick Mulvaney.
Your video actually spliced together the presentation. He said, we're going to go down and we're going to cheer on our senators and our House members. And then it actually goes on to say, in some of them we might not be able to. And that line about it, we fight and fight like hell is actually later in the speech, and yet your video makes it look like those two things came together.
I would argue.
And like I said, being there, it wasn't like the supporters grabbed pitchforks and torches and started running based on that. The president wants us to go fight like hell. Let's go fight like hell. Number one, it was too difficult to hear. I can vouch for a large swath of that place. It was too difficult to even hear what was being said. And they always tried to make it seem like the president called for a riot. That did not happen. Peacefully and patriotically.
This is worse than Panorama.
This is worse because then they cut in fight footage and it's like, see, President Trump said, go fight. Go to the Capitol and fight. And then it showed them fighting at the Capitol. See, President did this. This is way worse.
Because it was called out live on air. And Newsnight does not react or apologize on the program.
We're going to walk down.
Oh, okay. I'm glad we got that perspective now. It's been a year, and we're still waiting to hear any info about this alleged shooter. This is from Graham G. Hammer. All right, here's CNN. They are petrified of a lawsuit. So now they're fully exonerating President Trump of any wrongdoing regarding Epstein. Take a listen.
That mentioned the president. And we do want to be clear, the president, Trump, did not receive or send any of the messages, which largely predated his time as president. He's not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing in connection with Epstein or Maxwell. The White House.
There you go. They're being very clear about this stuff finally. Tucker Carlson says the FBI told us that Thomas Crooks tried to end Donald Trump last summer, but somehow had no online footprint. The FBI lied, and we can prove it because we have his posts. The question is why? Story tomorrow. So now community notes are being added saying that they never said there was no online footprint from the alleged Trump assassin in Butler, Pennsylvania. Well, that is what everybody was saying. Not everybody. That's what a lot of people were saying. It seemed to be common knowledge at the time that we were being told there was nothing to see online from this character. So that's an interesting thing to parse out. I've often said how the Democrats are rudderless, helpless, hopeless. GOP Representative Brandon Gill seemingly anoints the leader of the Democrats, or two of them.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It was great to hear from the new leader of the Democrat Party, Mrs. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Unfortunately, we didn't also get to hear from their other leader, Mr. Zoran Mamdani. Mr. Speaker, I'm going to be proud this evening to vote to reopen the federal government.
House should be in order.
Mr. Speaker, for 40 days, the Democrats shut our government down to pursue unrealistic policy proposals that they know the American people do not want.
Yep.
Mr. Speaker, the American people do not want health care for illegal aliens. They do not want our tax dollars funding left-wing media outlets, and they do not want to drive up our debt $1.5 trillion as part of a short-term continuing resolution. Mr. Speaker, the last 40 days have been nothing but pure political nihilism, and I'm glad that this nightmare is over so that we can get back to work on behalf of the American people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
They started yelling at Mamdani. Well, you got to own that to some degree. Here's Congressman Brandon Gill again.
It's time to
Gill again, not Gilligan.
hold someone accountable for Biden's weaponized DOJ.
Oh, there's music in the background. They're going after James Boasberg, saying he has no place serving on the bench. All right, I can't play it for you. All right, here's a crazy woman, as Amjed Y says, screaming at ICE agents who are arresting suspects who hit one of their vehicles and attempted to flee.
A police vehicle or police jacket, ICE,
baby.
Wait, they said that they would not be with police.
I'm so embarrassed.
You should be embarrassed. You guys are breaking up families.
I prefer nice.
Nah.
He's a pedophile, man.
He's not a pedophile. You don't even know his name.
Do you?
Do you?
Do you?
Do you know his name?
Do you know his name?
Why'd you arrest his friend if he's the pedophile? Huh? Why'd you take his friend? He already said because he's illegal. Swear to police vehicle.
Whatever. Whatever, leave. Don't come back.
Police jacket.
The people that the left will defend. David Harris shows us the Michigan Department of Education hearing sparking outrage after a scientist tells parents they do not know best and insists that experts should decide lessons on consent and gender.
So I'm sorry, parents do not know best. Scientists know the best. Experts know.
Scientists know best and experts know best. Good grief.
The best. So I strongly support the standard and to enable and empower all students to feel safe, educated, knowing who they are and knowing that it's okay to be who they are. So I'm sorry, parents do not know best. Scientists know the best. Experts know the best.
We heard that shit for 5 years under Corona. No thanks. Marion says, your ears must be so fine-tuned to the music in the background that sometimes I don't even notice it. I hate it because I'm a musician. We shouldn't demonize music, and we shouldn't use music as a weapon. And don't forget, at a lot of these outdoor events, at a lot of these rallies and protests, there's music. And it's been said that Antifa does this intentionally, knowing that if you put a video out there and there's music playing, they won't be able to show it. So they're hidden. They know the video won't last. It's diabolical. I hate that I have to slap videos down because of music. And I think this one has music. Anything that's been edited together and it's going to, you know, have all of the follow the bouncing ball. Here's the words transcribed on the screen, set to music. Well, if it's set to music, I probably can't play it.
Mike Pompeo went from CIA director to Secretary of State.
Obama's CIA director, Leon Panetta, goes from CIA director to Secretary of War. These jobs are interchangeable. You can work at the CIA, the Department of State, the Department of War, USAID. It's the exact same resume. It's just the same job with a slightly different emphasis. But because it's the same job, they form one blob in all the different network nodes and public-facing State Department nodes, the covert secret influence CIA nodes, the public-facing military networks, covert special forces, soft power influence networks, U.S. aid grant programs, the covert subgrants and grantee contractor network. They blend together in a mush as one blob. So that's kind of the central guts layer, and it's a permanent thing. I would have loved to let him tell you, but like Ben Cyber decided to put unimportant music into that video, so I couldn't. Miss Muckraker tells us Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has filed legislation fully abolishing H-1B visas. Representative Chip Roy to file legislation to halt all illegal, Representative Chip Roy to file legislation to halt all legal immigration. We need to do this for a couple decades already. This is madness. To make up for a couple decades of Biden-Obama. Halting all legal immigration until H-1B visas are abolished. Birthright citizenship is handled and chain migration is addressed. Ms. Muckraker says, bring the talent here to educate American workers. You don't bring talent here to replace American workers. People say Americans aren't as smart. They can't focus. They aren't getting the same education as outside America. Okay, so change the schooling. Educate Americans better. Reform elementary schools. Stop teaching woke ideology. See how they cause the problem, then demand the answer be everything other than America first? That's a simplistic view. It's a simple view because they've overcomplicated the situation on purpose to gaslight you. That's well said. Vice President J.D. Vance says the Trump administration will surge housing affordability through mass deportations. Include visa holders as well. There are approximately 3.6 million foreign nationals residing in the U.S. on valid non-immigrant temporary visas. About 400,000 non-immigrant visitors, mostly tourists, were estimated to be overstaying as of mid-2025, but these are not counted in the resident total above. Breaking Representative, these are all from Miss Muckraker, by the way. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez claims MAGA is coming up to her en masse and saying, I want to be a democratic socialist. Deep breath. I'll take shit that isn't happening for 1,000, Alex. That just doesn't happen. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem gave $10,000 bonus checks to TSA agents who worked during the government shutdown. Bravo. Miss Muckraker says, sometimes I forget that not everyone has read and researched the things I have. I assume everyone sees the corruption like I do and others like me. Some people are waking up for the first time today. I find it hard to believe that. What else? Representative Eric Swalwell has been referred to the Department of Justice for potential criminal mortgage fraud and tax fraud by FHFA Director Bill Pulte. Eric Swalwell, Democrat out of California, of making false or misleading statements on loan documents for millions in mortgages and refinancing tied to his Washington, D.C. property, where he allegedly declared it as his primary residence, potentially consulting mortgage fraud. Constituting mortgage fraud, state and local tax fraud, and insurance fraud. There's a clip where Eric Swalwell continuously types, no one is above the law, no one is above the law, no one is above the law, no one is above the law. But let me say this. Far be it from me to defend Eric Swalwell, but I'm going to. This whole home state and DC thing, it's a mess. Having home loans and but this mortgage stuff is a disaster. Get rid of the interest rate, by the way. Let's just do that. So people can actually buy things, pay them off, and have some equity. Then they can use the money they earn on other things. Wouldn't that be great? If you have to keep another house in DC because you work in DC, that becomes your primary house. Well, no, he has to have his primary residence where he lives. So he has to pay for a vacant place and then pay for a second place. Okay, that makes sense. Then they claim, well, that's why we need to do insider trading. We can't afford to live in DC. Well, as Ben Shapiro says, you have no right to live where you need to be. Or something. So this whole mortgage fraud stuff, it's primary residence, rental come on. Like, we got to stop with all these ridiculous stipulations. Anyway, if there's more to it and there's some finer point details where Swalwell's busted, fine, let's go. That guy was part of the Russian collusion hoax. That's a treasonous coup that he was heavily involved in. He deserves to get busted, but I don't know. Well, it says he's from a district, but he doesn't live in the district. Yeah, he lives in DC. He's in Congress. No shit. By the way, you want to fix that? Make a subdivision. 230, what is it? 100 members on one side, and then I forget how many members on the other side. But the point being, make a neighborhood, and everybody has a house, and it's bought outright. There's no mortgages. It's not stupid expensive. But when you're in Congress, you get to stay in this neighborhood, like an HOA, a congressional neighborhood. And then when you leave the post, that place is cleaned, professionally detailed, and then they open it up for the next person. So you don't have to pay for two places at once. Anyway, let's get Swalwell, but let's do it for the obvious reasons. And maybe there's more to this, because as I heard it explained, I think there might be a little more to it, and I'm open to that. Ms. Muckraker says, California will revoke 17,000 commercial driver licenses for immigrants after finding that the expiration dates were past the end of their visas. Man, I'm batting 1,000 for things that come true after I get told I'm a hateful bigot for saying them. Yeah, no doubt. Breaking, California Governor Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff arrested on conspiracy to commit bank and wire fraud. U.S. economy was costed. What? I don't know what that means. Costed? Was costed? I don't know what that means. $90 billion through the government shutdown. That the U.S. economy lost. Furloughed 670,000 federal workers, disrupted benefits for 42 million recipients, triggered layoffs of thousands more, halting services in national parks, research, and inspections. President Trump signed a bipartisan funding bill on November 12 to reopen operations through January 30, 26, with retroactive pay guaranteed. The White House now estimates the total economic toll at $90 billion in lost productivity, consumer spending, and GDP impact, far exceeding initial projections of $7 to $11 billion. For literally no reason. Well, and I'm sure that part of it, just like COVID, hey, how can we inflict maximum damage on Americans during President Trump's term? The economy can't be good, or else nobody's going to be wanting to get rid of him and remove their agenda. We have to sabotage things to make President Trump look bad. That's pretty awful. Marion Cook says a very tiny home only. I don't know. I mean, people need to live. People need to work. You know, like it doesn't need to be a tiny home. It could just be a regular subdivision with a regular middle-class sized house, a nice upper middle-class sized house. Doesn't need to be a mansion. But once again, it's a government asset. And maybe they could stagger it, Democrat, Republican. Maybe it could be a couple of special subdivisions so that not every congressional member is in one exact place at the same time for operational security. I totally get that. And maybe you're put into an automatic, not arbitrary, you're in a random itemized, like a number generator figures out, all right, we have a subdivision of 50 people over here. These 50 Senate and House members get spread out. You get a place you can use over here. You don't have to, but you can. And then that would just be an asset for the federal government. It doesn't need to be army barracks where you're sleeping in bunk beds. Anyway. Yeah, the Democrats inflicted pain because they're trying to make Trump look bad, and I'm so sick of them. Radio host Charlemagne says Democrats need to lean into Representative Jasmine Crockett because she's a phenomenal messenger. All right, please do. This is insane. How would it feel if countries sent people to our country? Context. Crockett criticized mass deportation plans, overlooking that the U.S. has received millions of unauthorized migrants over the years. Suggesting the U.S. needs illegal immigrants because we done picking cotton, end quote. The context is, in a discussion on labor shortages, Crockett invoked historical slavery imagery, arguing for immigrant workers in agriculture and services, drawing accusations of tone deafness and racism reversal. By the way, there is no reverse racism. There's just ugly, hate-filled racism. Reverse racism implies that only white people are racist, which is racist to say. Vine reboot called Divine has been launched after being funded by Twitter founder Jack Dorsey. It includes over 100,000 videos from Vine's archive, and no AI-generated content is allowed. Oh, really? President Trump unveils a plan to replace Obamacare by giving Americans cash to buy their own health insurance. Hey, now. Unveiled? Is this a done deal? Pepsi is introducing new versions of its popular snacks that strip out artificial dyes. I gotta say that removing the artificial petroleum-based dyes is going to be that could be a game changer for Pepsi and the Lay's products. Good. Don't make it a line. Just get rid of it. Stop feeding us poison. Why are they even allowed to keep poisoning? Just stop. Speaker Johnson says a vote on the Epstein files will take place next week after the discharge petition. Ms. Muckraker continues. Congress will expedite the release of a $4 billion military grant to Israel, part of a package signed on March of 2025. funding urgent deliveries of precision munitions, artillery shells, and Iron Dome interceptors to counter threats from Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran. This fits into the broader $21.7 billion in U.S. aid since October of 23, averaging $25 million a day. Oh my God. How about we take $25 million and we purchase the homes of Americans? Hey, here's a few $100,000 to get a home that you can own outright. Guess what? Now the money that you generate can go into the rainy day fund. It can cover health insurance. It can help you build some generational wealth. No, let's send it to other places. It underscores the ironclad alliance without new conditions. Babylon B. Megyn Kelly gets rid of her old pager just to be safe. WTF, Seth Dillon. I think I'm kind of missing the point on that one. All right, we went from Jack Dorsey, go over to Jack Smith about the Russia collusion hoax, the coup, the treason.
Into a story that we broke earlier this week. We told you, I think on Monday night.
And this is John Solomon.
We broke it on the show that the FBI had transmitted new documents to Congress on the Clinton Foundation, new examples of alleged corruption that occurred there and efforts to thwart the investigation of the Clinton Foundation. Some of those documents also involved efforts to investigate the Clinton campaign's funding of the Steele dossier. Well, today we learned in new documents that my good colleague Jerry Dunleavy just put up that the Justice Department under Joe Biden was trying to use Special Prosecutor Jack Smith to scuttle any FBI or DOJ investigation into the Clinton campaign's funding of the Steele dossier. Why is that news? Well, first off, we didn't know that they were criminally interested in investigating Hillary Clinton's campaign for that funding. But two, we now tied together Jack Smith's investigation to Russia collusion. Now you begin to understand why FBI Director Kash Patel said he thought it was a grand conspiracy, that all these things to get Trump are connected, from Jack Smith and Lois Lerner in 2014 at the IRS, to the Russia collusion, to Ukraine impeachment, to the raid on Mar-a-Lago, to Jack Smith's investigation. And it turns out that Jack Smith has a direct connection to Russia collusion now in these new documents. More over at justthenews.com on that. All right, let me turn to a story that we broke earlier this week. We told you, I think on Monday night, we broke.
All right. And that, I believe, conclude. Oh, one more. Oh, there might be more than one more. This is Speaker Johnson officially blocking the House vote on extending the flawed Obamacare subsidies to big insurance.
I haven't, and there's a lot of reasons why. First of all, the Unaffordable Care Act has failed the American people. It did exactly the opposite of what they all promised as it would do. The Democrats broke the American health care system. The reason your premiums are skyrocketing is because they have terrible policies, and one of them is subsidizing insurance companies. That's what this COVID-era subsidy was all about. Remember, the Democrat Party created this on their own. They're the ones that put the expiration date on it, December 31 of this year, because they knew it was a boondoggle. There was no way they could justify that being permanent policy. So what we have said is, if there was going to be an extension of that, it would need massive reforms. You need some income caps on that. You should not be subsidizing health care for wealthy people. And also, you need all sorts of reforms on it. You need high protections on those things and other innovations. So the Republican Party has known this is going to expire at the end of the year, as everyone in Congress has. We were always preparing to work through that in a deliberative fashion through October, November, December. But ironically, the Democrats, because of their shenanigans, took a lot of the time off the clock on that for us to do it. So we're working on it in earnest. It is the Republican Party that will bring down health care costs, not the Democrats.
All right. Well, good luck with that. I hope you do. Let me hit refresh because I think there's a couple other stories that we had. And just like that, Jen Psaki sees a multi-million-dollar lawsuit flash before her eyes after accusing Donald Trump on live TV. She walks it back so fast you could almost hear MSNBC's legal department sprinting down the hallway.
You're talking about the other predators out there, in addition to Trump. I mean, I'm not saying he is. We don't know all the details about that. I just mean in addition to what we've learned about Epstein and others, there's other predators out there.
There are, and we have to remember that Alex Acosta, when he
You're talking about the other predators out there, in addition to Trump. I mean, I'm not saying he is. We don't know all the details about that. I just mean in addition to what we've learned about Epstein and others, there's other predators out there.
There are, and we have to remember that Alex Acosta, when he
You're talking about the other predators out there, in addition to Trump. I mean, I'm not saying he is. We don't know all the details about that. I just mean in addition to what we've learned about Epstein and others, there's other
That's pretty funny. Okay, I think that might be the last one that I had. Okay, yeah. All right. YouTube didn't like your other post? Oh, that happens. Okay. Let's go to our X feed. Hit like, hit subscribe. Reminder that we do have our tip jar open on Venmo and Cash App, BrianEngelman. PayPal fuzz installment at yahoo.com is the email. Also have Rumble Rants and Super Chats on Rumble and YouTube. All right. Yeah. Trump is in the Epstein files. Yeah, it says Epstein hates Trump. Yeah, but Trump is mentioned. So, I mean, if that's what Trump was saying was the hoax, then that's a hoax. But, you know, just didn't come out right. Gotta say that. Okay, well, here's our X feed at American_media_. Please like this account and follow. Here's our Patreon link that you can subscribe to. This is my conversation with Mr. John B. Wells, where you can sign up to be a monthly supporter. Okay, this guy got busted. He was reported to the state for selling pickles and green beans. Government tells him he can't sell food that he grew on his own land. Meanwhile, the same system that bans farm fresh jars, green lights, stores shelves loaded with pesticides and chemical-soaked junk. That sounds crazy. John the Fever says, here's Chief Correspondent Jeremy Bowen pretending to be under Russian attack when an elderly Ukrainian lady walking her dog stops to make sure he's okay. Is this real?
Amount of incoming fire coming into this now. Artillery fire. There are loads of civilians around. Families coming out. There's a lady there with her dog following on. This is the edge of the town that the Russians have got.
Like, bro, you okay? It's like where it's like, I'm drowning. Look at this. There's a hurricane. And there's people pushing their shopping carts, walking right past them. They're all just trying to dramatize it. Clip Keeper. All right, bringing old clips back. Saying here that Jeffrey Epstein held a dinner party with guests Katie Couric, George Stephanopoulos, Chelsea Handler, Charlie Rose, Woody Allen in honor of Prince Andrew. Oh my God. Did Kirk have things to say? Take a look.
Katie, Emily S. wants to know the strangest part of going to a dinner party at Jeffrey Epstein's house with Chelsea Handler.
Yeah. I know. That's a long story that's in my book. Yeah. I was invited to go to this dinner at Jeffrey Epstein's house, and George Stephanopoulos was going to be there, and it was right before Kate and William got married, and I thought, oh, I better go because it was in honor of Prince Andrew. And I thought, I better schmooze Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew, who is probably the most famous person on this list.
It was in honor of Prince Andrew. And I thought, I better schmooze Prince Andrew. If George is, I need to get in there.
Right.
And I didn't know anything about Jeffrey Epstein at the time. And it was super weird. What can I say? And the person I was with said, did you notice how young the girls were who were?
You didn't know anything about him at the time? You were a liar. You're a news lady. And you're probably suffering from Trump derangement syndrome.
And it was super weird. What can I say? And the person I was with said, did you notice how young the girls were who were taking the coats? And I said, I really didn't. But of course, later we found out everything about him. But yeah, I was invited to it, and I should have done a little more research. But a lot of the stuff about him hadn't come out yet.
Katie.
Yeah, maybe, maybe not. This was 18 months after he was released from prison in 2010. Well, to be fair, how many people knew about Epstein in 2010? But she's not normal people. Anyway, what do you think? Here's video of a Kroger fight in Tennessee. Chaotic scene. Several women fighting in the produce aisle. Fruits and vegetables flying. Staff and bystanders rush in to break up the situation.
Excuse me, guys.
Jackson, Tennessee.
Oh, that was a cheap shot. Oh, is that one of the workers there? There's a weave pulled out. You got something on the floor. Looks like a wig. Look at that slob on the right. Oh. Waddling away, and took that cheap shot too. Someone was separating the other two, and she ran in and just got a cheap shot. That's some cheap ass shit.
Where's your car's at? Right here.
Square up and do something. That's one thing. That was it. Look at this slob. Oh my goodness. And she was the
Go home.
See, there she is. This guy's like, all right, stop. He's trying to separate him. Here she is. This blob comes in, waddling over, spilling out of whatever she's wearing. Walks up. He looks at her.
Jackson, Tennessee.
The guy's trying to separate him. And then she punches one of them in the face. Yeah, that one's, I'd say, the biggest problem. The biggest person and the biggest problem. Kenneth! How are you, Kenneth? So Dane shares this. Man eliminates 3 kids who are breaking into his home, and the mother claims this was excessive use of force. This was the perfect use of force. Don't ever break into someone's home, you idiot.
My son only tried to rob you, and you took his life. That was an abuse of force, Channing. You must pay for this.
And there's music. I can't play it. You got 3 people running up on my house trying to break in.
Court sentenced the veteran to death.
I think I've played this, and there's something wrong with this clip. Anyway. Feel free to turn away. This is the Kenneth shows up for the least vibe check story of the day. Actually, there's so many wrong vibe checks of the day. Today. We tagged PETA. Kevin Dalton says, here's a garbage human in Anaheim. California. Seriously injuring a dog after she throws it over a fence wrapped in a plastic bag. I'm sorry to even share this, but like I'm scrolling and I saw this. This angers me so much. Police have identified and spoken to the woman, but it's uncertain if charges will be filed. Uncertain
is that surveillance video shared by the University Vet Center in Anaheim. It shows.
I'm gonna full screen it. This is awful. You vile creature.
And is that surveillance video shared by the University Vet Center in Anaheim? It shows the dog in a plastic bag being tossed over that fence, landing into the backyard area of this animal clinic. That dog found by the vet himself the next morning, badly injured.
Is that a broken paw?
Well, they jumped into action, performing life-saving medical care.
Oh my God.
Reviewing their surveillance video, the vet's office thought that the woman responsible came from the apartment building just across the street. Police confirm that is in fact where she was found earlier today.
I can't find words to describe why anybody would do something like that, and it's hard to find the right words. I mean, thrown is an understatement. He sustained mental trauma, even far beyond his physical trauma.
Again, Anaheim police say that the woman seen in the video has not been arrested, but police are discussing the case with the Orange County District Attorney's Office to see if this qualifies for criminal charges.
Yes. Okay. Criminal charges. Ready? Abuse a kid, death penalty. You essay a kid, you do the worst things you could do to a kid, death penalty. You abuse animals, you damn right you get charged. You defend yourself in your house against an invasion, you never get charged. You're on a subway and someone's threatening to K the people in there, and you defend him by holding him on the ground so that you can get some police assistance to get him arrested. No charges for Daniel Penny. This is not rocket science. Your life is being under you're under imminent threat from an invading mob in Kenosha, and you defend yourself. You don't get charged. This is not rocket science. Oh, I'm glad that they're gonna kind of take a look and see if maybe they should, press some charges. Oh. Okay. Well, you just let me know. Oh, no, you know what? I think this was the story that I was asking you to make sure that I got back to. Oh, no, hold on. I shared it. Why isn't it? Let me refresh. There, now I can go to it. Because look, it all comes full circle. Talking about the Epstein stuff. Look. Penny Johnson reporting, is this President Trump five-dimensional chess? Breaking. President Trump announces he will be directing the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's involvement with Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, J.P. Morgan Chase, and many others. Records show these men spent large portions of their life with Epstein and on his island. Stay tuned. President Trump says now that the Democrats are using the Epstein hoax involving Democrats, not Republicans, to try and deflect from their disastrous shutdown and all of their other failures, I will be asking AG Pam Bondi in the Department of Justice, together with our great patriots at the FBI, to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's involvement and relationship with Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, J.P. Morgan Chase, and many other people and institutions to determine what was going on with them and him. This is another Russia scam with all arrows pointing to the Democrats. Records show that these men and many others spent large portions of their life with Epstein and on this island. Stay tuned. I think that's the one I wanted to get back to because I saw it, but I didn't know if it was in the stack, but now it is. All right. Shame on this lady in Anaheim. Shame. This is a man in Michigan. Homeowner charged in shooting. Is this the one in Oakland County that people are talking about?
Prosecutor says Dayton Napton shot a 17-year-old who was trying to steal items from his garage. Let's get out to Erica Erickson. She's live tonight with the latest details in this case. Erica, the prosecutor says Napton...
Really? Erica Erickson?
...crossed a line here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different sides we're hearing. We're hearing from the prosecutor's office, that man's defense attorney, and the family of that teen who was shot and killed, and they're upset.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and it hurts a lot.
4 months after 17-year-old Savon Wilson of Pontiac shot and killed in White Lake Township. His family says the charges have them confused.
I think the way they went about it, it could have been done better.
24-year-old Dayton Napton charged with manslaughter, assault with intent to do great bodily harm, and 2 counts of felony firearm for the death of Wilson and shooting another teen in the leg. Wilson's family says they want Napton charged with murder.
It doesn't make sense that it wasn't done out of malice, and for them to charge him with manslaughter when everything in the report is suggesting that it was malicious intent.
Back in July, prosecutors say Wilson, along with 6 others, broke into Napton's detached garage. Napton coming out with a 9mm. Prosecutors say firing 2 shots through a windowless, locked garage door. Then, as the group ran away, prosecutors say Napton shot at them 5 more times, ran back inside, reloaded his gun, and came back outside.
Savon was running away and got shot.
Oh, did he? Maybe he shouldn't have burgled.
Ran back inside, reloaded his gun, and came back outside.
Savon was running away and got shot.
Running away from what? From a home invasion?
I never heard anything about him getting shot in the garage.
But prosecutors say Wilson hit and killed from a bullet fired through the locked door.
We had a really close connection. So it hurts a lot. I would have never expected this to happen to him.
He happened to that homeowner. You think that homeowner ever wanted to meet this guy breaking into his home? No, he didn't.
He had so many dreams and aspirations.
He had dreams of robbing people? Aspirations of robbing people.
Back out here live, the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office says the rights to own firearms and protect one's family and home are fundamental. Those important rights also come with profound responsibility. We believe the evidence demonstrates this defendant crossed the line by firing outside his home.
Your property is still your property. Outside of his home, that garage is his home.
At fleeing persons. Now, meanwhile, I just got off the phone with Napton's defense attorney. He says Napton was startled, and this case is one of, quote, stone self-defense, and he believes Napton should have never been charged.
But it does bring up an important point that when you do leave your home, that's maybe a time that you shouldn't be firing, but you don't know what they're armed with out there either. You don't know how many of them there are. Are they lurked? How many of them are at different windows, different doors, different entrance points around your house? You don't know. And they are the ones, the criminals, that caused this panic that sets off self-defense. We said, no, we aren't going to allow Americans to be abused by invaders. Drop these charges and throw the book at the invasion gang. Andy No here says, here's an Antifa group designated by the State Department as a foreign terrorist organization as Antifa OST, aka Hammer Band. They are known for carrying out brutal hammer and melee attacks on unsuspecting victims. They aim to break their victims' bones. Be careful. I don't know how you're supposed to be careful for stuff like this, but be aware of your surroundings. This guy's just walking. But he is looking down at maybe his phone in his hand, and here comes this guy running up on him. I don't know what's going on in this situation, but he cracks him right in the head. Repeatedly. Guy stumbles and falls. Getting attacked by all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people at once. A bunch of flipping cowards. Be ready. Keep your head on a swivel. Where's somebody with a tool to defend themselves? What is this? These people are all just watching this. 1, 2, 3, but these are like old ladies. And they spray pepper spray on their way out. That guy's bloodied on the ground. That is awful. Go get Antifa. David Harris Jr. shows some EBT fraud. Woman films herself swapping price tags before buying groceries. Food Line in Rocky Mount, North Carolina confirmed that they have identified her and they're pressing charges. People are literally posting their own crimes on the line. This is wild. Music, can't do that. Peeling other stickers off. Putting those stickers on. Bragging about theft. Oh, is that the daughter behind who's embarrassed? She's like, oh, Mom, I'm so sorry that's your role model. Oh, that's pathetic. Ha ha ha, I'm stealing. So proud. Here's what I paid. $6.68. $22.71. Oh, paying with cash, not EBT though. Lean ground chuck, $6.68. Let's roll out. So that's less than half of what the thing was. Okay. Well, please keep posting your crimes online. Hey, here's a question of the day for everybody. If these are the battle lines, who do you pick? You got to pick one or the other. Ben Shapiro or Tucker Carlson? Who would you go for? I did see your comment. I meant to reference it, that Tucker Carlson, that you like some of the stuff he's been doing, David. Would you support Ben Shapiro or Tucker Carlson? All right, James McMurdoch, MP, says tonight an Amazon delivery driver let himself into my home. It was lucky that I was in the right place to confront him immediately, but it shocked me. And the question that keeps coming back to me is this: what if my wife or teenage daughter had been standing in my place? The footage is clear. The driver approaches the door, breathing heavily. He checks the handle and pushes his way inside. I don't know what his intentions were. And that is exactly the point. I contacted the police. Their exact words were, trespass is a civil matter. There's nothing we can do. What the hell is wrong with them? Senior officer on shift confirmed it. So let's be absolutely honest with the public. Under current law, if a stranger walks into your house, the police may not attend. At a time when delivery companies are hiring thousands of temporary drivers, who is turning up at our doors? What level of risk are families being exposed to? And most critically, what message does this legal loophole send to someone with bad intentions? Try your luck. If the homeowner scares you off, just walk away. The police won't pursue you. Try again. This is utterly unacceptable. I will raise this in Parliament. I will not wait and risk someone being harmed before action is taken. If the law fails to protect people in their own homes, then the law must change. This is terrifying. Rings the doorbell. Tries the door, opens up. Whoa, sorry, mate. No, there's no sorry. You don't get to do that. Dude kind of looks like Kash Patel, right? Side by side, kind of looks like Kash. Here's Gavin Newsom. Pay attention to his hand motions. Asked why the Pacific Palisades hasn't been rebuilt after the devastating fires. Well, he's got an answer, and he's got really strange hand mannerisms.
In my state included, which is one of the most blessed and cursed states as it relates to climate. We're on the tip of the spear of climate change, simultaneous droughts and simultaneous floods. The hots are getting a lot hotter, the dries drier. You saw one of the most devastating wildfires in American history in the middle of winter in Los Angeles in January. 100-mile-an-hour winds attached to fire. And as we rebuild, the number one concern people have is, how do I get my home insured? And how do you get a developer to develop a home that can't get a mortgage, which requires home insurance? So from across the spectrum, from financial risk to the issue of cost of living, which is universal, to global competitiveness, this is a no-brainer. In my state included, which is one of the most blessed and cursed states as it relates to climate. We're on the tip of the spear of climate change, simultaneous droughts and simultaneous floods.
Set this to Vogue. Where's John? You still grilling? Set Gavin Newsom to Vogue. Roll with the music. Hey, hey, hey. Here comes YouTube. You said, hey, hey, hey. Can't monetize your work today. You don't get to eat. Which is why it's so important that the crowdfunding continues, everybody. Tip jars are out there. Thank you very much. Because I can't rely on YouTube. I can't rely on the advertisements rolling in. They'll flag normal stuff. Anyway, I digress. But that'd be funny. Setting it to Vogue with all of his hand movements. Gavin blew some. Yeah, man. Okay, this is what we were talking about. Who brought this up? Was this Marion? Massive SNAP fraud to end. Take a listen to Brooke Rollins, Secretary of Agriculture. It's about damn time.
On day one, when I was sworn in, which was earlier this year in February, the very first thing I did was send letters to every single state in America and said, never before has the federal government asked for the data, but it is a new day. President Trump is the president. We know there's a lot of fraud. We need to help partner with you all to figure out how to make sure that this money and these benefits go to those who truly need it and not rife with fraud and corruption. 29 states, mostly the red states, responded with their data sets February, March, April. So the numbers that you're talking through, those are numbers that we have been collecting and analyzing since early summer, late spring. The fact that this spotlight shined on SNAP has allowed us to talk about it. But here's the most unbelievable news I have really just over the last few days, that 5,000 dead people, that was just 1 month. The number is closer to 186,000.
Oh my God, we are being robbed blind.
Deceased men and women and children in this country are receiving a check. Now, that is what we're really going to start clamping down on. 500,000 are getting 2. But here's the really stunning thing. This is just data from
500,000 people getting 2 checks.
those 29 mostly red states.
And that's ignoring the 21 mostly blue states.
Can you imagine when we get our hands on the blue state data, what we're going to find? It's going to give us a platform and a trajectory to fundamentally rebuild this program, have everyone reapply for their benefit, make sure that everyone that's taking a taxpayer-funded benefit through SNAP or food stamps, that they literally are vulnerable and they can't survive without it. And that's the next step here.
And no snack cakes. They're eating the Kit Kats. They said, sir, they're eating hot dogs. Here's the preview, or actually this is our show, Strictly Football. I'm not going to be playing Strictly Football after today's program, after all. I might do a replay tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. Might do a show tomorrow. I don't know. So the hemp industry and the farmers of America have a problem with the McConnell-Harris hemp ban. And it's got a 1-year implementation period. All right. So listen, if you're covering the misguided hemp ban that was passed by the House today, please consider the following statement from hemp industry and farmers of America. In 2018, President Trump and Congress legalized hemp, delivering more jobs and opportunities to American farmers and small businesses. But today, swamp politicians like Mitch McConnell and Andy Harris forced Congress to betray Trump's America First agenda by pushing through a draconian hemp ban that will devastate American farmers, business owners, veterans, and seniors. The new hemp ban will also open up dangerous black markets for hemp and allow China to take control over the entire hemp market, said HIFA Executive Director Brian Swenson. The McConnell-Harris hemp ban. McConnell. Get out of there, McConnell. They said he took alcohol money because THC products were cutting into their profits too much. The McConnell-Harris hemp ban is the exact opposite of America First, kills 325,000 American jobs, destroys the industry President Trump built with hemp farmers. The industry calls upon Congress and the Trump administration to reverse this reckless betrayal and implement a common-sense America First solution in the coming days. Brian Allen says Mitch McConnell didn't just wake up one morning and decide to wipe out 95% of the $28 billion U.S. hemp industry. Now we know why. He claims that Mitch McConnell took nearly $900,000 from the alcohol lobby and then quietly slipped a hemp ban into a shutdown bill that threatens 300,000 American jobs. Wow. Relentless Bunny says, here's one of the MFers responsible for the ban. Jordan Davidson saying it's official. The hemp THC ban is law of the land. Our Learn About SAM team worked for this every day since 2018. It's now our biggest achievement. Special interests will lie about this law, but remember, this ban puts the safety of kids front and center. It will save lives. You protect kids by protecting kids. You don't harm adults. That's a non-starter. Jim Higdon saying there's 364 days now to stop the McConnell hemp shutdown that will make every non-intoxicating CBD product into a Schedule 1 narcotic. Good grief. Is anyone else having problems with Grok? I couldn't get it to work on my cell phone today. Yes, vote hemp 2028. Where am I now? Oh, okay, there we go. U.S. Washington Times reporting U.S. District Judge Jamel Semper says DOJ can prosecute the assault case against Representative LaMonica McIver. Tom Fitton says under the new rules that were used to expel George Santos, Representative LaMonica McIver will now be expelled from the House. Right? MJ Truth Ultra says, here's a reminder. It was reported that Thomas Crook's 700 plus social media posts may have been posted by his father or another family member. When you add it all up, what does it tell you? Crook's home looked like a medical lab with no silverware. Crook's parents are both in professions involving therapy. Crook's father reported his adult son was missing only after a few hours the day of the shooting. FBI released the body to the family, and the family quickly cremated it. Crook's parents now hire a powerful criminal attorney. Foreign email accounts, it's smelling kind of sus. Take a reminder watch.
They also found 700 messages sent on social media, but a source says to the Post that it's possible they weren't written by Crooks, maybe by an older family member. Quote, some of the comments were years old. They didn't think the language matched what would be expected from a 15 or 16-year-old. So there was some discussion over whether it could have been his dad or a shared account. Just like with the JFK assassination, the intel agencies are going to try to hide the full story from us. They also found...
Guys, that's how close we were to losing.
Assassination. The intel agencies...
Right there.
...are going to try to hide the full story from us.
I mean, come on. All right, hey, I got a great update. This happened during the show. Personal update for the program, for operations here at the New American Media. Rumble Canada Incorporated just made a deposit into the account. I'm touched, I'm honored that any of you enjoy hanging out here watching this show. I hope you enjoy that you're also a part of the show. I really do try to bounce comments and conversation. I enjoy like being a part of a show, knowing that some of the things that I type might get mentioned on the program. It's like you're there. You know, it's like a constant call-in line. I love the comment section. But I am now I'm just awaiting the YouTube payment, the first YouTube transfer. But yes, after many days of waiting, many days of waiting, Rumble Canada just made a deposit in the account for the New American Media. Big day. It's all part. It all adds up, and it's all necessary, people. It's all necessary. Thank you for the Rumble rants, the monthly subscriptions, and just by watching on Rumble, letting the advertisements play, it's like tossing a penny in the wishing well. We appreciate it so much. I see this deposit went through Rumble into PayPal, where Deb has made some donations before. Thank you, Deb. That's great. That's awesome. That's another. Cross it off the checklist. One less thing to worry about. Now this is set up. That's fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Here's Tucker Carlson talking about Thomas Crook's shocking online transformation. From a 2019 Trump supporter to an MSNBC-style Trump hater with ties to foreign Antifa agitator Wiley Tepes that the FBI may have buried. What? Take a listen to Tucker Carlson.
Here's what we do know. The digital comments we obtained were posted between 2019 and 2020, when Thomas Crooks was between 15 and 17 years old.
And there's music. Doggone it. A key figure in Crooks' 2020 to 2021 comment threads was Wiley Tepes, who allegedly was active on foreign-hosted Antifa-affiliated site promoting direct action against right-wing figures, raising questions of external influence or foreign interference.
Views on the president transformed, changed completely during COVID. The FBI lied.
It doesn't even look like the same person, does it? That guy looks like he's got a facial deformation. I mean, I guess, but that picture's never made. It's like his face is concave. Is that the same guy? I don't know.
COVID. The FBI lied about that fact and pretended that Crooks was a right-winger. At 11:35 p.m.
Anyway, watch the report. I can't share it here because they got music in the back. Except I want to know. Glenn Greenwald says, hold on, wait. FBI rapid response. Is this an official account? This FBI has never said that Thomas Crooks had no online footprint, ever. Tucker Carlson, that was in response to Tucker Carlson saying the FBI told us Thomas Crooks tried to kill Donald Trump last summer, but somehow had no online footprint. The FBI lied about it, and we can prove it because we have his posts. The question is why? Story tomorrow. FBI rapid response says this FBI has never said Thomas Crooks had no online footprint ever. Glenn Greenwald says, except here's Dan Bongino, who's now the deputy director of the FBI, saying last year that we're being told that Thomas Crooks had no online footprint and noting how bizarre and improbable that is. So who's gaslighting who? I guess FBI rapid response, you could take that comment to say this FBI has never said that Thomas Crooks had no online footprint ever. Actually, let me do that. At G. Greenwald, is it possible that the FBI rapid response post literally means this FBI never said that, implying that the other Biden FBI definitely lied. That's sort of how I take it, but what say you?
We talked about this before. I have seen credible information, the extent to which the shooter had significant explosives that were sophisticated beyond that you would expect some 20-year-old just to put together, and that he had sophisticated detonation devices on his person, or a sophisticated detonation device, and importantly, that his digital footprint is completely MIA, that his digital footprint is missing, and that how can a 20-year-old in today's time have no digital footprint? So do you have any thoughts on that, any comments on that? And that'll be my last question.
Well, 4 years of doing protective intelligence investigations with the Secret Service, interviewed probably hundreds of people who have credibly threatened our protectees. I've never seen anything like it. If you would have told me it was a 60-year-old guy who had lived most of his life without a computer and for the last 10 years had been planning this, hard to believe but digestible. You're telling me a 20-year-old kid who's grown up in the digital era figured this out when he was, what, 13? To never get an online presence? We've seen nothing. Nothing. We're now 6 weeks in. There's not a Facebook photo. You know, it's incredible. We know every single thing about these shooting incidents when there's a political narrative to be had by the media and the other side. We do. You know who their high school girlfriend was. Sadly, you know everything about these people. We know nothing about this guy. And sophisticated explosives, we have this massive law enforcement bureaucracy. No one's got him with an online search history at a library saying, how do I build this? He's 20 years old. It just defies logic. I can tell you, again, 4 years doing these exact investigations, never, ever seen or heard anything like this in my life.
So that's got to count for something, right? So we'll see how that shakes out. Here's Joe Rogan and Elon Musk pointing out the insane inconsistencies about this situation. Well, it's 7 minutes, so you can watch it. But some of the points here that they discuss, according to Wall Street Apes, the assassin's home was professionally scrubbed. His home was scrubbed so well there wasn't even silverware left in the home. No footprint on the internet. No social media footprint, completely wiped. He was in a BlackRock commercial. Joe Rogan says some individuals inside BlackRock may have recognized that it's beneficial to them if he gets ended. There was never a formal report. There was never press conferences where they detailed all the info they currently had and where the investigation stands at the moment. He was a very young kid with a rangefinder used to measure distances. Very suspicious. CNN streamed it live, which Rogan does not believe they did for any other rally. Well, they did, but not many. And certainly not for a rally that's in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania. They wouldn't let people be on that roof because the Secret Service lady says it was sloped and it was dangerous. That made no sense. Other than it told on themselves because they're making a ridiculous argument that should be scrutinized and laughed at. Really. Sloped roof. Yeah, like every roof? Snipers were on the other roof. By the way, that had a steeper pitch. Makes no effing sense. Random people saw this kid and pointed him out on the roof with the G for a long time before it happened. Kid had 5 phones. Come on, nobody has 5 phones. His body was instantly cremated. There was some indications that there was a phone that had been traveling from outside the FBI offices to D.C., where the kid lived multiple times. We need answers. Eric Trump has thoughts on Thomas Crooks, the person that allegedly, that they say, took a shot at his dad.
You know, I think one thing that I rally on kind of a lot was the whole, Butler situation. Like I'm wholly unsatisfied with what happened there. And I'm wholly unsatisfied with what the American people know about the guy who tried to, blow my father's face off. I'm a competitive shooter, shot competitively my entire life, 130-yard shot with a modern rifle, modern optics from a rooftop is a chip shot, right? Like, it shouldn't be here. And we know nothing about this freaking kid. We see one picture of him. He's like 13 years old. He looks like a nice, innocent, prepubescent boy. We don't know a damn thing about him. He got cremated like 6 days later, right? And no, I'm wholly unsatisfied with that. And listen, my father's been like remarkably calm, and
strangely
has said publicly that he's satisfied. I think there's a lot of things that go into that statement that obviously we don't need to contend with as a general public, national security and other things. And a guy who's responsible for bringing calm to a country right after kind of a horrible incident. But no, I'm not satisfied at all. I want to know exactly who this guy is. They got into every phone of every January 6th protester, every.
Thank you for that point. Did he just drop an F-bomb that he peeled back on?
But no, I'm not satisfied at all. I want to.
I'm not effing satisfied is what he was starting to say there. I caught that.
Right after kind of a horrible incident. But no, I'm not satisfied at all. I want to know exactly who this guy is. They got into every phone of every January 6th protester, every grandmother that walked through the Capitol and took a selfie, but they couldn't get into this guy's multiple phones. I'm wholly unsatisfied as to who this guy was, how he got there, what the hell he was doing. And I think this country is too. I mean,
isn't it impossible for him to be acting alone?
One freaking picture. I mean, who in the day of smartphones, who in the day of one of these things has one picture of them out there? I mean, it's insane, and this country's pissed off, and as a son, I'm really pissed off, and I want to know more. So if there's one thing I disagree with him on, I do so incredibly respectfully. He's doing it for different reasons than I am, but I want to know who the hell this person is.
You also are very emotional about it. It's your father at the end of the day too.
Yeah, and I want to know who the damn kid was, right? Like I want to know who this kid was. And it's been way too quiet about it. And again, I'm glad he's been as calm as he was, because I think there's a different scenario there where it could have gone very differently. But I think this country deserves to know who the shooter was.
Yeah. Agreed. Who is Thomas Crooks?
Videos the FBI has worked hard to make sure you haven't seen.
So go watch it. I just can't play it with the music. I want to tell you about this. Since the start of Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago, Chicago crime is at a 4-year low. Crime is at a 4-year low. Robberies down 41%. Homicides down 16%. Shootings down 35%. Carjackings down 48%. And this is how Pritzker responded to this to Brett Baer on Fox. This is your Democrat city compared to Common Senseville, USA.
Have the highest murder rate of all the big cities. Well, we are not
They
in the
reset
top
that.
30.
Let's get that very beginning part.
Chicago have the highest murder rate of all the big cities. Well, we are not in the top 30 in terms of our murder rate. Indeed, our murder rate it has been cut in half over the last 4 years, and every year it's gone down by double digits. And if you look at all of the violent crime over the last 4 years, here's a map. They've all gone down.
U.S. cities, 17.47 per 100,000 population. Chicago is number one over Philadelphia, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Phoenix, Los Angeles, New York, and San Diego.
What I'm explaining to you
Now,
is
you're
when
talking
you
about
want to fight
violent
crime. Look, you can pull statistics up.
No,
I can
these are
too.
murders.
I'm explaining to you that our murder rate has been cut in half. And very importantly, Brett, and you got to hear this, very importantly, we've been doing the things that are necessary to bring crime down, right? We've invested in community violence interruption.
Chicago have the highest murder rate of all the big cities.
Well, we are not in the top 30 in terms of our murder rate. Indeed,
the murder rate
our murder rate it has been cut in half over the last 4 years, and every year it's gone down by double digits. And if you look at all of the violent crime over the last 4 years,
here's a map.
They've all gone down.
U.S. cities, 17.47 per 100,000 population. Chicago is number one over Philadelphia, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Phoenix, Los Angeles, New York, and San Diego.
What I'm explaining to you
Now,
is
you're
when
talking
you want to
about
fight
violent
crime, look, you can pull statistics up.
Yeah, pull statistics up, please. Digigal says President Trump says Chicago's Miracle Mile Shopping Center now has a 28% vacancy rate and may shut down soon if the city doesn't get its crime problem under control. Yeah, that's a problem. U.S. Border Patrol dedicated to making American cities safer, one deportation at a time. Good job. Marjorie Taylor Greene introducing a bill to end the mass replacement of American workers by aggressively phasing out the H-1B program. Train Americans to take the H-1B jobs. Do it now. Get people on welfare trained to take these jobs. Offer courses, free courses, train people up, figure it out. Secondary education should be cheap. You make one system and you make it available for every U.S. citizen. You can access it for free. You can take the accreditation. Maybe you have to go take the test in person to prove you are who you said you are and that you actually learn the material. I'm fine with that. Let's do it. Let's reimagine our education system. Instead of saying, yeah, we need 600,000 Chinese kids to come in and pay full price. Otherwise, the colleges are going to, it's going to be tough for them. Well, maybe it should be tough for them. Maybe they should let go of some of these pointless professors who are radicalizing Americans to hate their families, hate their culture, hate their race, hate their country, hate everything about America. Huh? Maybe that's a necessary thing that needs to happen, a contraction. Anyway, you want to hear and probably you want to see a fantastic Gavin Newsom impersonation. I'll tell you what, I will end today's show on this. By the way, please hit like, please hit subscribe, link up with us in all the places. Rumble Rants, YouTube Super Chats are available. Venmo Cash App is my name, Brian Engelman, and PayPal fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. All scrolling at the bottom of the screen. These are ways to toss something in the tip jar for today's program, if you'd be so kind. On this Friday, halfway through November, heading into Christmas season, so it would all be appreciated. Let's be honest, it all goes to Nimbus and Ben anyway. Maybe not all of it, but for real, I went to Target. I got 2 items for me. I got some eggs, and I got some cottage cheese. Did I get 3 things? Maybe I got a bag of apples. 3 things: apples, eggs, cottage cheese. Maybe it's butter sometimes. Maybe it's just a couple of whatever. I don't need much. I don't eat much. Whatever. $125. It's all Nimbus and Ben. It's $45 worth of 2, what are they, 22 or 25 pound kitty litter things. 4 things of canned food. I think that was it. $125 on the cats. $10-15 on me. Yeah, I don't have a fancy car, and I don't have a fancy house, and I don't have expensive tastes or massive drug habits. I just, regular mortgage, regular insurance, and then just regular stuff. But yeah, your donations, they frequently end up going to Nimbus and Ben, that's for sure. But I'll end on this note, this huge positive note, this huge hilarious note. I did play you a minute ago where it was kind of, Gavin Newsom doing all the hand motions and gestures that you could imagine. This guy's from the Patrick Bet David show. I recognize him. I don't know his name. It just says this dude absolutely nails it. I don't know his name. Sorry. But it's shared on VT. What does VT stand for? Valuetainment. This is such a good Gavin Newsom impression. Here we go.
Governor Newsom, wildfires have destroyed millions of acres of the state, displaced countless amounts of family. Do you take responsibility for any of this, and is there anything more you think you could have done?
Not really. I think these fires were very devastating. I think the full scope of what actually has happened, we're not there yet. Okay, these people's houses are just destroyed. People are suffering. People are sad. But we're Californians. We're going to...
I love this so much. I had to live under the totalitarian rule of Gavin Newsom for far too long. Oh, this is so good. Full screen this again. When he slaps him in the face, it's the best.
We're very devastating. I think the full scope of what actually has happened, we're not there yet. Okay, these people's houses are just destroyed. People are suffering. People are sad. But we're California.
I think he does the double slap. Oh, that is so good.
We're not there yet. Okay, these people's houses are just destroyed. People are suffering. People are sad. But we're Californians. We're going to push through. We're going to push through. And where we're going, the vision is 10 times bigger than anybody else can even imagine.
Former President Trump has recently...
This is one of the best impersonations I've ever seen. I don't know when Gavin got this goofy, but my God, does he nail it.
We're going to push through. And where we're going, the vision is 10 times bigger than anybody else can even imagine.
Former President Trump has recently criticized your leadership, saying that you failed California. What's your response to him, and what does the future of California look like?
To be honest with you, I try to block that rhetoric, because the words that come out of his...
I paused it at too funny a part. I'm sorry. But you know who he kind of reminds me of is Gary Vaynerchuk. A little bit of Gary Vaynerchuk in here. A little bit. Oh, but this is funny. After slapping him twice, he does this.
And what does the future of California look like?
To be honest with you, I try to block that rhetoric, because the words that come out of his mouth, all the words out of his lips, they don't mean anything to me. He needs to use these more, because the future of California is bright. It's so bright. When you really try to look at it, I mean, really, really look at how bright it is, you're going to need shades to live in California 24 hours a day.
Critics are saying that you're...
Oh, this is good. This is the internet clip of the day. I am so happy. So happy I found this. I just wish it had this guy's name at the bottom. I want to call him out, but he's from Valuetainment with Patrick Bet-David.
Because the future of California is bright. It's so bright. When you really try to look at it, I mean, really, really look at how bright it is, you're going to need shades to live in California 24 hours a day.
Critics are saying that you're all hand gestures and no action. What's your response to that?
Critics say you're all hand gestures and no action. Grabbing Gavin. This is too good.
Look at it. I mean, really, really look at how bright it is. You're going to need shades to live in California 24 hours a day.
Critics are saying that you're all hand gestures and no action. What's your response to that?
I think people are wrong. Okay, they need to wake up. I speak with passion. I speak with fire. No.
Guys, I think he's sort of doing... Let's see if I can find you a clip of Gary. See if I can find you a clip of Gary V performing, or at least speaking. He doesn't seem too fired up in this one. Here's the volume.
Us is regret. It's poison.
Oh,
and I push so...
No, we don't need piano music that... Bling, bling.
400...
Okay, this is where it sort of reminds me of Gavin Newsom. Let's see.
400 trillion to 1. When you understand...
There's music. Can I get one without music? But he's doing a lot of hand gestures already. Come on, any without music?
The market proves it for you, so let's go in detail. The problem is everybody wants to be anointed.
No, it's music. I guess they're all just going to have music. Any shorts that don't have music? No results for Gary Vaynerchuk shorts?
How many questions? The same thing. Put out content, put out a great product, test things, try it all, use data, use your intuition, test and learn, test and learn, test and learn.
Music in the background. Anyway, I think there's an overlap. There's an overlap here. With his Gavin Newsom is very similar to a Gary Vaynerchuk. So good, though. So good.
I think people are wrong. Okay, they need to wake up. I speak with passion. I speak with fire. No pun intended. And I feel if I use my hands...
I speak with fire. No pun intended.
What's your response to that?
I think people are wrong. Okay, they need to wake up. I speak with passion. I speak with fire.
Everybody wants to burn the world. Pardon the pun of I speak with fire.
No pun intended. And I feel if I use my hands a lot, people won't be focused on the lies that are coming out of my mouth because I lie a lot. So I want to.
That's such a good line. If people are more focused on my hand movements, they'll be less focused on the lies.
I feel if I use my hands a lot, people won't be focused on the lies that are coming out of my mouth because I lie a lot. So I want to distract them with my hands.
Interesting. Wait.
What?
Where'd my gum go?
To be honest with you, I have no idea. Oh, would you look at that? You know what? This gum is just like California. It's sticky, it's resilient, and it'll bounce back.
You're a scumbag.
Thank you.
That's pretty great. Valuetainment. All right. That's what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you so much for being here on the TNAM Daily Show, part of the New American Media. Seriously, huge day. This is a milestone. Getting that $66.71 transfer from Rumble. That's something. That's something that's relevant. That's something that's helpful. That's very helpful. It's another box that's been checked. Now we know that that's a way to help fund the operations. Thank you all. Seriously, thank you. To the monthly subscribers and the Rumble ranters, it's important. And the people that just watch let the advertisements play. Penny here, penny there, 10 pennies, 20 pennies, 30 pennies. It all adds up. It all adds up. Thank you so much. Big day. Next on the horizon in like a week, it's going to be the YouTube transfer. Making sure that our AdSense account is actually locked in. That helps. I know we've confirmed Cash App works. PayPal and Venmo. Thank you, everybody. Such an awesome day. So yeah, I believe I'm going to be doing a show on Sunday. The late game on Sunday, Ravens at Browns. I believe I'll be streaming. Tomorrow, question mark, will I be streaming? I don't know. Maybe I will do a show. Maybe I'll just do a replay. Not entirely certain. Maybe I'll do an abbreviated version of the show. Not entirely sure. But just keep your eyes peeled if you get a YouTube alert. I'll try to put the alert out a little bit ahead of time if I do. It just sort of depends. There's a few variables up in the air. So there's that. And there's Kenneth off the top ropes. Look at that, Kenneth. Kablamo. Mona Lisa. Moolah. There's some moolah. Raining in from the sky. Super chat. Wait, is that from Super Chat or from Rumble Rant? How did it? Oh, it says Super Chat right there. It doesn't on the one screen, but it does on there. It's awesome, Kenneth. I appreciate you, brother. Are you back in your regular routine now? Are you back to the... He's back in the saddle again. He's back. You were traveling or hosting someone or vacationing or traveling or doing something, weren't you? Good to have you back. Hey, pal, and my bro. My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy. Wherever I go, he goes, my buddy, my buddy. My buddy and me. Remember that commercial? I feel like I know all the commercials. I used to just consume so much information. You're mostly back. Okay, good. Well, I'm mostly happy to hear that. Yeah, I'm not entirely certain what you're doing. I know sometimes you go up to Minnesota and you were doing something. Happy to have you back. I know your routine was off a little bit, but it's always a pleasure you went to Clearwater. There you go. And so you're mostly back. Or I'm in Clearwater, but only for another little bit. I don't know. Either way, good to have you back. And thank you, everybody else, Marion and John and Leon, etc., people in the chat. David, thank you all for being here. And remember, please, maybe you're not a huge sports fan, but we do have a show called Strictly Football. Myself, Mike Barrett, Jim Mitchell, and Ezra L. Robinson. It was a good week. We split the show into two parts. We did a Tuesday show looking back at the week that was. We did a Thursday show looking at the week ahead. I loved it. I thought the new format was great. I felt way more comfortable in the preview show because I was looking at injuries and weather and trends. Jim Mitchell focused on the betting trends. Mike kind of walked through who he thought and for what reason. And Izzy added some interesting insight too. I like Izzy's insight. He adds things that we weren't going to say. It's not really, 95% of the time, 90% of the time, it's not a regurgitation of something any one of us or any sports fan would probably get to. He has interesting takes, things that, and I'm glad we reconnected this year. It was cool. Reconnecting with Izzy. Of course, he was my neighbor in Los Angeles. Yeah, and it's been cool just hanging out with him. I realized pretty quick that he has a acumen for sports commentary, and I'm like, come on, jump in and join the Strictly Football Show. So it's added a little bit of time to the show, but I think it's time well spent. And I think it's a good addition. It's a new demographic. He's Gen Z. I'm not. I'm Xennial or a Zennial. The other two, Mike and Jim, are either Gen X or I don't know how old they are exactly, but Gen X or older. And he's Gen Z, and I'm millennial, Xennial, Zennial. It's a good dynamic. I like that part of the show being there. Easy. Did he do the double Dutch? Wait, traveling DJ? Maybe one day. I know people that were DJs. There's good money in it if you can do it right. You can do weddings. You can do private events. It's like a whole thing. Anyway. Thank you, everybody. It's been a great day. And we'll be back at least on Sunday, maybe tomorrow. Either way. Signing out on behalf of the TNAM network. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Have the best weekend ever. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.